And that not every woman is gonna give birth in her lifetime. I understand that some women have issues even with having a period and stuff like that as well too. But man, some of the stuff that I've been seeing, some of the comments that even from supposedly women that are supposed to be naturally born women actually saying that, hey, you know, taking offense to women that are this whole cisgender thing, this kind of throws me off as well too. When I start hearing people say cisgender and this gender, look, I'm just used to saying a woman. I'm used to just calling a female a woman and a male a man, and that's just pretty much how I came up. All this cisgender, all this non-binary, binary, all this type of language and stuff is kind of throwing me off a little bit. So excuse me if I'm a little bit lost in the sauce when it comes to this actual situation here as well too. So to me, whether a woman ever has a child in her lifetime, whether a woman has issues with having a cycle, because there's some women that do have issues having their cycle, their periods and stuff like that. To me, the number one way that a woman is a woman or a female is a female, first off, you have to be a female to be a woman, because when every a woman that's born in this earth, she's not born a woman, she's born a female, she's born a girl. So what's up, Brooke? I see you over there on YouTube. To be an actual woman, you have to be a female. And to actually to me, you have to be born a female. If you're not born a female, then you're not a woman. I mean, I don't care if you have to take pills and hormones, you have to have surgery and all this other stuff. To me, you're not a woman. You have to be born a female. You have to be born an infant, a newborn. You have to go to a toddler status. You got to become a girl and everything else, a teen. You become a woman. That's how you are a woman. If you miss that, then you're not a woman. There's two type of people on this earth. There are men and there are women. There are males and there's females. If you're not one or the other, there's no third, no fourth different gender or whatever. All of this stuff is just completely made up. And it's been made up over the past 10, 15 years, definitely. So you have to be an actual female to become a woman. If you're not a female, then you're not a woman. If you're not born a female, then you're not a woman, in my personal opinion. Whether you ever have birth, whether you ever give birth, whether your menstrual cycle, whatever it is or whatever, you have to be born an actual female. If you're not born a female, then you're not a woman. I had no issue with what Jess Hilarious said. I was in agreement for whatever, for what she said or whatever. Of course, it's going to draw some blowback. So like I said, I welcome anybody to come up here and state how they feel or whatever. We actually have actual women up in this actual space right here. That's why Dana's one of the co-hosts. We're going to try to get Rella to come up here and co-host tonight too. I want the actual women to be up in here and co-host because, this topic is definitely about them. And who would know more about being an actual woman than actual women? And our women tonight, our co-hosts have actually given birth. They've had their cycles. They know more about being a woman than people who claim to be women. That's not women. So, I'm going to put it nicely. I don't mean to offend anybody or whatever, but it is what it is. Like I said, to be an actual woman, you actually have to be born a female. You have to be born an actual female. If you're not born a female, then you were born a male. It's only two things, or it's three things. You were born, what's the other? Hermaphrodite. And even a hermaphrodite has to decide. They have to decide what that child is going to be. They're going to take one of the genitalias and they're going to stitch it up or cut it or do whatever they got to. But at birth, they're going to decide on that as well too. So there are two type of people on this earth, male and female. Just like if you're a man, to become a man, first you have to be born a male. If you're not a male, then you can never be a man. In my humblest opinion. So that's where we at tonight, man. And like I say, we trying to go ahead and just rewrite the whole entire damn book here. Shout out to Brooke and Dusty over there on YouTube land. Y'all guys, make sure everybody coming into YouTube space, make sure y'all go ahead and like, share, subscribe to the channel. Make sure anybody that sees this video, y'all go ahead and y'all subscribe to the actual Newstoter channel. Make sure you share this on all your social media platforms as well too. Shout out to all my people coming up in the space tonight. We definitely gonna be sisters, we're gonna definitely be after y'all to come up here and speak tonight. And like I said, I also sent out to trans. I actually sent out something to trans too because I want trans to come in here. I know trans is always a usual in here, so I want to hear what trans has to say about this as well too. And we're gonna be respectful because I know there's gonna be a difference of opinions tonight and everything like that as well too. So we will be respectful to people. People are entitled to have their opinions, but I'm gonna tell everybody in here we're also entitled to disagree. You know, you can disagree with me, and I can disagree with you as well too. We'll be respectful as always. So, Alice, go ahead and unmute your mic.
I'm sorry, 1 second. I wanted to give a little bit of background context of what we're about to talk about.
Okay, go ahead, because you are the co-host, so get it in, Dana. And Alice, we'll get to you.
And then we go to the speakers, yeah. So I think it dropped today or yesterday, but I was aware of it today that Jess Hilarious, she was responding to a TikTok influencer by the name of Blessing Rose. And in the clip, Blessing said, when the transphobia just comes out, the audacity and just the arrogance for cis women to believe that they own periods, that they own womanhood. You don't own periods. You don't own womanhood. You experience both, and both are different for every person. But as a cis woman, it doesn't belong to you, so you can't gatekeep it. And then Jess Hilarious, she did a reaction to that YouTuber and said, who the F is going to stand up for us? Who the F stands up for us? And us, I mean women, real women, biological women, women who are born with all the parts that you guys wish that you were. When does the delusional stop? What is the difference between you and someone who has been diagnosed to be mentally insane? The only difference is you don't have a straitjacket on. She goes on to say, she continues to speak to the trans TikTokers saying that stop talking out your effing ass, wake up. How are you projecting your anger on real women? Because we are the gatekeepers. We are the gatekeepers for periods. We're the only ones that effing bleed, honey. We're the only ones that can give birth. We make y'all people. We make y'all. Y'all come from us. You can't be us. You will never. You're chasing something you'll never, ever get. You'll never be that. Subliminal responding to Jess was T.S. Madison. Then T.S. Madison jumps into it and says, there's so many real women that get mistaken for being transgender women, and that's where a lot of the anger comes from. I do hope they take a good look at how transphobia affects all women. Now, she goes on to say, and she gets mistaken for one a lot. So I just be disappointed in her tone sometimes. I'm sorry, people. Can we just kind of speak a little bit more better, especially when you have journalists trying to transcribe what you're saying? So it became a back and forth. Tasha K stepped in it, and I love Tasha K response. And just to sum it up, she did say that we, the women, we are the bleeders and the breeders, right? But she gave like a 7-minute response on her Instagram. And I co-signed Jess, and me personally, I co-signed Tasha K as well. And then now we can get the discussion started. So I just want to give some background context of how all this came about.
All right. Thank you, Dana, for actually going ahead and you dug it in, and you pretty much went word for word because I saw that video. So you didn't miss a whole lot that they actually said. So Major, I'm gonna get to you. I see Alice, she had her hands up first. So let me go ahead and get to Alice. Alice, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay, sir. I'm an old nurse, and I just wanted to clarify something that you said. There is, outward, the hermaphrodites may have what appears to be similar, either a vagina or both. But when you run their chromosomes, they're either male or female. And even if they have like an outer penis, and they can have testicles or they can have ovaries. They don't have both of them. Because I took care. The other chromosomes that you can have are like 3 X's. You know how like a girl's an XX and a boy's an XY. I've seen babies that are, like have like an X 3 X's, but male or female. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you for the clarity with hermaphrodites.
Yeah, thank you for straightening that out.
And the thing is like I was working back in the 80s and the 90s, and so like we actually had a hermaphrodite baby, and not me, but I took care of one, and they decided that it was a girl, and the I mean, it's like I just wondered even back then why they didn't do like an abdominal ultrasound, because he had testes, not ovaries, that just didn't descend, and then like had like it looked like a really large clitoris, and so they had decided before we got his DNA back that it was a he and it was a she. Wait. They had decided it was a she, and it was a male. So God knows what he does. That's it. Thank you all for letting me chat.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, Alice. Appreciate you. Sir Major, go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right, thanks for having this real Newstoter. I've been in quite a few spaces today defending my sister Jess hilarious. Whether she's right or wrong, that's beside the point. When it comes to non-FBA folks trying to weigh in and lecture and wag their fingers in the face of FBA women, let's get straight to the point. There is a notable influencer who was an attorney. She's Nigerian. She's been on the big face of a lot of social justice stuff online. She's been inserting herself in Black culture for quite some time. And I didn't ordinarily have a problem with her advocating for the benefit or as the benefit of Black folks and community. Her name is, look at the jump trying to see my long response to her. Her name is Ole Yimi. She's out of Atlanta, Georgia. She's been doing a lot of the online advocacy against Stop Cop City, which is a city that the Atlanta police is trying to make a mob city of, where they hide police Black folks. In her video response, I saw it because I follow her. She noticed that she attaches herself to the Black community by saying she's a movement lawyer. She's a movement lawyer, meaning that she's an attorney for all things social justice. Okay? So I've been monitoring her and I've been following her. But how I knew about Just Larry's comments is due to her video response. And in her video response, she told Just Larry that I love your comedy. I love your comedy, but you need to shut up and stay out of politics, what she said in the video. And that's very similar to what a white reporter told Black athletes to shut up and dribble. We love when you're dribbling that ball. Just shut up and dribble. Stay out of politics. And so I offer my commentary to this Nigerian woman. And if you want to read it, you can go through my remarks. And I told her, I said, ma'am, you're Nigerian. You and your mammy fled your country. Don't come to America trying to tell Foundation of Black American women like Jess Hilarious to shut up about her womanhood, her wombhood, right? About her culture, her politics, and her community. You and your family chose to come to America for whatever reason. It was Just Hilarious ancestors who built this country. It was her Black hard work. It was her Black resilience, her Black blood, her Black sweat, her Black tears, her Black equity that built this country, that afforded you the right to come here. It was her group of people that fought for you to have a voice in this country. Now, whether you agree or disagree with FBA's positions, at all times, you need to do it in a respectful manner and respect our community. You telling Just to not get involved in politics is the same thing as telling Black athletes to shut up and dribble. You are essentially telling, it says Jazz, but just to shut up and just tell jokes. Your anti-Blackness will not be tolerated in our community. Perhaps you should get involved with the politics of your nation. And maybe you should get on a Spirit flight and go back to Sokoto State, Nigeria, which is one of the poorest cities and states in Nigeria. Don't forget, it was just community who helped. It was Just Hilarious community who helped launch a campaign to find those missing girls that Boko Haram kidnapped and raped in your Nigerian villages, right? So my point is this: you're not FBA. Non-FBA people should not be commenting in a disrespectful manner about Black women and their womanhood and what is Black and what is a woman, right? And so I came from that perspective. Now, here's my general perspective. It is no doubt that just because you're born woman and you try to change your sexual identity, you still get periods, you're still a woman. If you didn't change your sex, I mean, even if you were able to successfully change your gender, whether on paper or physically, you're still born female. Now, the conversations that I've been through today, I don't agree with these terms that white liberals place on us. Oh, you're cishet, you're cisgendered. Don't put your labels on me. I am a man. I am a male. I am a boy. You are a woman. You are a female. You are a girl. Stop with these extra labels because you want to be associated with white talking points or liberal linguistics. I'm a man. And so let's keep it simple. I take offense, like Wanda Spots, I take offense to all these extra labels. I'm not cishet. Calling me cishet and all these other languages, or no languages, these other words, it's violence. And I'll end there. Oh, I'm sorry. Last thing I'll say. When you guys are having these conversations, don't forget to shame the LGBTQ community. That they weaponized their voices and made Always the Period Company to change their logo. The same white LGBT transgender community also attacked our dear sister, our queen, Aretha Franklin, for her song, Natural Woman. So we must at all times stand on code, be on code, and check anti-blackness inside of the LGBT community. I'll end with that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir, Major. Let me go ahead and get to let me get to B more, and I'm gonna get to Ray. Shout out. I see Rella, she's up in the spot as well too. Rella, after they speak, you can go ahead and definitely add something as well to the conversation. And anybody else that wants to speak, just come on, request a microphone, come up here, raise your hand, and we'll get you up here. Go ahead, Be More Codified.
Hello. So I definitely saw the very original TikTok. And then I saw Jess's actual response today. And I was very pleased by Jess's response, not only me being from Baltimore, but also the fact that for once a black woman said something against this madness. And especially the specifics that she said as far as what's the difference between you and someone who belongs to an insane asylum. I mean, let's not forget that this whole trans thing was originally a mental condition, even according to the psychology books back in the 70s. So the fact that we've allowed all these mental impairments to become normal, not us specifically, but as a society, that they become normal or considered normal or something that we're supposed to adhere to or even give respect to is asinine and ridiculous in and of itself. But I definitely have for a long time had a real serious problem with the idea that the whole label of trans woman. To be a woman, you have to have been a girl, just like you said. You have to have had certain DNA. You've had certain chromosomes. You've had to have gone through the experiences of puberty as a woman. I mean, we all know that the puberty experience for a female or a girl is different than for a male or a boy. I mean, I just went through this with homeschooling my 12-year-old son last year, going through 6th grade. So even he knows there's a difference between a male and a girl, and I apologize, my daughter is in the background with her commentary as well. But there's a difference between a male and a woman or a female, and the idea that we're gatekeeping something. Like, to gatekeep, it has to be something that has the potential to be available to everyone. There's no way that you can say that a period giving birth, breastfeeding a child like I'm doing right now. There's no way you can say any of that is available to anyone. There are certain things that literally have to be created. I mean, the woman's body during pregnancy creates a whole new organ in addition to enhancing the abilities of other organs. I mean, this is insane that we're even having to have this conversation. And just like Sir Major said, I'm not a cis woman. I'm a woman. Just like Aretha said, I'm a natural woman. I mean, the fact that song that's been out for what, almost 50 years. That song is getting backlash by sensitive its that can't identify what they are or have gender dysmorphia. It's definitely unfortunately a sign of the times. I mean, of all the things to have to worry about as a Black person or even a Black woman in this world where we're dealing with so much systematic racism, white supremacy, that the fact that we have to worry about protecting our genders at this point is insane. And I'll land there.
All right. Thank you. Be more codified. And I hear the little one in the background. So shout out to the little one as well, too. Let's go ahead. Ray, I know you was up here, but you dropped down. You want to go ahead and say something?
I'm here.
Yeah, I hear you. Ray was up here and he dropped down. I wanted to see if he wanted to go ahead and say something real quick. You got time, Ray?
I'll be real quick, man. So you can say a lot of things about just hilarious, you don't like her comedy, et cetera, et cetera. But one thing you won't say is that she's a damn liar. She didn't tell a lie at all. I don't care who doesn't like it. Because at the end of the day, like she said, we're starting to move into a space where things are just getting crazy. You got trans people calling natural born women chest feeders and all this other craziness. I seen something the other day where a trans person went to the doctor, a female gynecologist, and the doctor was like, well, what you want me to do with you? And now I guess the doctor's being sued and all this craziness. Like, what? At some point, we have to say, like she said, enough is enough. And it's not going to stop until we make it stop. I have nothing against trans people, but it's getting ridiculous. That's just the truth.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you. And this is definitely a space that I definitely, like I said before, I definitely want to hear from some of the women because what they're actually saying actually applies to you more so than anybody else up in this space. And I know a lot of times our sisters, they'll get on the microphone for certain topics and conversations, but this is one definitely that I feel that you should have quite a few Black women, not even Black women, women in general coming up here to speak as well too, because this is something like Ray just said, a certain demographic is sitting up here saying, basically if you don't go along with it, they're pretty much calling women out, calling, what you said, chest beaters and stuff like that. Like, wow. Like, so we definitely want to hear what the women got to say up in here. Rella,
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Dana.
Yeah. So I see what you're saying that, if women you want to hear more women speaking, but honestly, it's not just what we need. We need more men to speak up for us in this type of situation because we are being labeled as bigots, heterosexual women, and we don't hear or see men having transgender men invade their space. But we see transgender women invading our space, as in the Always company taking off the women chromosome, whatever gender label. When you talk about women's sports, when you talk about now you have social media influencers saying that we're not gatekeepers of this. So we are being attacked. And a lot of times I would say women need to be accountable for even allowing that to happen. Because the reason why you don't see transgender men going into men's sports, because men is not having it. They're not having it from the jump. Women, as always, we like to be some passive or leading with our emotions or let everyone feel inclusive. And then now look what we have. So, yes, women do need to speak up and push back against this, but we need more voices from you men. And I'm talking about the real men that are not sneaking away, sleeping with the transgender women behind our backs. or sleeping with men behind our backs. And even if you are part of the LGBTQ community, especially Black, I'm talking about the ones that understand the difference between, yes, this is the lifestyle that I choose, and know the difference between this LGBT cult that is going on here. So that's all I'm going to say for now.
All right.
I did want to add, yes, they are calling women chest beaters, and the women that give birth, they're calling them birthing people.
Okay. Let me go ahead because I know Rella, she just got up in here, so I want to go ahead and let Rella go ahead. Rella, you want to say something right now? You want to wait?
Yeah, I want to caution to say that when we're talking about trans people, we're talking about people who identify as the opposite sex, which is just male and female. So they're transposing, they're identifying as one or the other, right? But they were previously a biological of the two groups, right? So we're still not getting away from male, female. We're talking about now biological versus someone who has the word trans in front of their name. And so I do believe that this conversation has to do with both men and women, because trans men who oftentimes do not get up on stage and they oftentimes do not speak up about this situation, and they allow trans women to take the reins and biological women to run down the street to champion things for them, i.e. the Always situation. So the Playtex Always situation, the company was forced to switch out their symbol, which has always been a symbol to identify a female reproductive system. Trans men have female reproductive systems. Unless they've had a hysterectomy, they went in and told the doctors, hey, we want to change our female organs to match that of a man. And I don't see any hospital doing that. Just because you go and go through hormone therapy and maybe the sex change does not change the fact that you still have the reproductive body parts on the inside. Your hips, your bone structure on the inside is still that of a female. And so the crazy thing was, to me, is that they decided that instead of them adding a lane for themselves, right, and saying, hey, we just want Always to represent us in our identity, not necessarily attack the symbol of reproductive rights for women. We want a lane for ourselves that Always can champion. That wasn't the case. And neither did women and these are biological women too, also supported this. And that is my problem in this whole scenario. You have biological men and women, because Mark Lamont Hill is a staunch advocate of trans men are men, and that's not the case. You cannot say in one breath trans in front of man and then say they are man and leave out the word trans. That's not a true statement. And I really need us to get a handle on that, because it's becoming a problem. And it's becoming a problem because people don't want to be factually correct. They want people to be they want people to go along to make people feel comfortable while they're making other people feel uncomfortable. And they're pretty much trying to erase science and facts. Even the NIH does not have supportive documentation stating that they don't use the term trans when they are talking about trans people. They use the term transgender. When they talk about biological people, they don't say trans in front of the word biological anything. So if we're going to be correct in here, we need to be really honest. And that is my problem that I have with a lot of people who champion a lot of what's going on right now in this confusion, because they don't want to be honest. They don't want to be honest, and then they're calling people out of their names. And being just downright disrespectful, even to the point, I think the other space I was in, one of the guys that comes around in the reparations movement started talking about how, well, let's be real, a lot of biological women have masculine features, and they're not always feminine. Like, that was such a low blow to me, that you want to demonize biological women, whether or not you deem them attractive or not, to say, well, because they have strong features or because they're not aesthetically appealing to you, somehow that is a gaslighting or an open door for you to be disrespectful towards women. No, it's not. It's not. And I really hate that somebody like that or that person would actually say that, because that's why people were upset about how they treated Michelle Obama, the racist conservatives who were calling Michelle Obama a man, saying she had strong male features. I can say the same thing about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene she's strong in the face, but at the end of the day, it's like that has nothing to do with whether or not those women are biologically women, because they are biologically women. Ugly, beautiful or not, biological women have wombs, they have reproductive systems, and you cannot get away from that. Gendered men who were once female have a reproductive system, unless they decide they are not going to use that and go through the process of changing, trying to go through the process of developing or extending their clitoris. And that's just, to me, that just seems like that's so painful. But anyway, I'll end there for now.
All right. All right. Thank you, Rella. Brother Moku, you had your hand up. Did you still want to speak, or you good?
I'm going to just say that, this is why I always say that we should not even condone this. You know what I'm saying? Not condoning it is not hating anybody, not shaming anybody, or whatever, new sophisticated word people might come up with, bashing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's all about promoting corrective help, corrective action. Like, we know that shit. I don't, and this is absent feeling. You know what I'm saying? When you have men and women, but I'm saying for the women, you know what I'm saying? When you have women that condone this shit, when you got men that speak up against this shit, and then you got women that reprimand them saying, oh, you can't say this about, you don't know. I mean, I got people in my family that way. Okay, I got people in my family that way too. But you know what? I don't hold no punches with them, and I don't condone that shit. I tell them, look, ain't nothing. I tell them that it's sexual confusion, and it can be corrected. You know what I'm saying? I think when people, especially men, get into it, especially with this transgender shit, with all of this sexual confusion shit, with the labels and all that, we tend to get bashed like we're homophobic. I don't even understand that word, because I'm not scared of any man or woman. We bleed the same blood. You know what I'm saying? So I don't fear any man or any woman. So, I think with men, when we draw back against that shit, it's always be homophobic or be bashing. You know what I'm saying? I always say, look, you eating too much soy, all you gotta do is eliminate eating soy. You know what I'm saying? And this is a diet thing. This thing can be corrected. You know what I'm saying? As far as me, I'm always hyper aggressive against that shit, because I have children, and my children watch me. But aside from them watching me, they watch other people too, which are you. You know what I'm saying? Outside of me. So if my son see a guy walking around dressed like a goddamn woman, and he says to me, Dad, why he dressed like a girl? I'm not going to say to him, oh, now, that's what he identified. No, I'm going to say, yeah, son, you're right. That's a girl. And that's a guy. And he's dressing up like a girl because he's sexually confused. Now, when my son says or repeat what his father told him, which was the correct information, my son or my daughter should not get reprimanded for that. And it shouldn't be nobody parading for you can't say that against him just because it's another child, or it might be their family member and their feelings about it. You know what I'm saying? We need to get out our feelings about this shit, because, excuse my French, this stuff excusing inappropriate behavior, this is what it turns into. Actual men trying to take over women's position. And I land there.
Okay, thank you, Brother Moku. Let me say this real quick. For all the speakers coming up here, don't start bombing the actual Jumbotron as well, too. We got more than enough stuff up in there. I don't want 30 things up in the Jumbotron. Secondly, Brother Moku, let me say what you're saying. I agree with, because when black men say something, we are considered the most homophobic group in the damn world. You always hear about this toxic masculinity. Whenever black men say stuff about this, whatever, we are always labeled as being homophobic, toxic masculinity. You had Charles Barkley going on TV talking about the black community was the most anti-gay group there was in the world and stuff. And he wasn't talking about black women. He was talking about black men in particular. So whenever we say something about this stuff, and we've been saying stuff for the longest time, it has been ignored. And then when we say something, then we've been painted as these people who are just so anti-LGBTQ, anti-this, anti-that. So whenever we do open our mouths and say something, that's why I say I think it's going to take the actual women, because here's another thing that people don't want to, they may not want to hear. But black women are considered more of a minority than black men. It goes back to the fact that not only you're black, but you're also a woman as well, too. So you are considered a super minority. You can say things and not get chastised the way we can. I was watching the old episode of the of Good Times, and you had James Evans about to get a job at this department store, and he brought his wife Florida with him. Well, you know, the white woman, Miss Garrett, that used to be on Facts of Life. Miss Garrett, she loved James. She was about to hire him and whatnot. She said, oh, yeah, I'm going to hire him. I'm going to pick him. Then his supervisor, the white man, came in and said, well, no, I see who we got. We're going to hire her. She's like, well, I didn't offer her the job. Like, yeah, but we're killing two birds with one stone. We got us a minority. Matter of fact, we got us a minority in two. We got us a black person, and we got us a woman. So that's why I say it's going to take black women to sit up here, because you can actually say stuff and not get the actual heat of the media that we can get. Yeah, we're going to still say it anyways, because we're always going to be branded this and that or whatever. So yeah, we're going to say it. Judge Joe Brown's going to say it. I'm going to say it. We all going to say it up in this space. We're going to say it and whatnot, but we already know we're going to be the first, we're the last to be hired and the first to be fired. So when we say something, there's ramifications coming along with it. Oh, you can't sit there, this and that or whatever. I grew up in an era where, like, look, straight up, little boys didn't play with Barbie dolls. And nowadays I know people say, oh, that doesn't matter. That's how it was. You didn't play with Barbie dolls. You didn't paint your nails. You didn't do any of that, because that was not considered boy behavior. But things have changed. It's going to actually take the women to actually say something. The women, yeah, we're going to say something, but y'all going to have to also say something as well. Ray, your mic might be unmuted. Yeah, I think Ray, your mic might be unmuted. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna say stuff. We're gonna say this and that or whatever. And Dana, you made a point that you don't see the actual transgender men coming into the actual men's side of things as much as you see with women, and that's actually true. And you definitely don't see in the athletics, because let's be for real, a lot of the transgender men that become transgender women couldn't compete against against the regular men. So they said, well, let me go ahead and get an easier route.
You mean women that become transgender men?
Yeah, women that become transgender men. Like when they're not going to sit up there and they're not going to try to go into athletics, and they're not going to be trying to race Usain Bolt and play football and this and that, because it just ain't going to matter. But I'm saying even
biologically, because you can't biologically.
Yeah, you can.
It's like everything goes back to science.
But that's what But yeah, that's the reason you got the men. You got the men say, well, I'm a man. Well, I'll become a transgender woman, so I can go ahead and outswim Dana, and I can outrun Rella and this and that or whatever, because I wasn't out swimming and I wasn't outrunning the other guys that I was competing against. So yeah, let me go ahead. I think it's woke. Go ahead and unmute your mic. Are you there, woke? Woke AF?
I'm here, sorry.
Go ahead, woke.
Thank you. Yeah, basically, thanks for having me up here. I appreciate the convo. Whether I disagree with a lot that has been said, but I'm not up here to argue. I just think that it goes back to, if you think, and I haven't been here for the whole conversation, but initially I raised my hand to say, there should be no confusion. If you have a uterus and you're not in menopause, you will menstruate, whether or not you have a sex change. I mean, older women get their uterus taken out because of various reasons, medical problems or whatever. So I just think that that's just a fact that people should know. Whether you transition to a man and you feel like a man now and you haven't taken your uterus out, you are going to menstruate if you're in that age group. And also, just to Brother Ruko, what you said could be true if you believe that exposing your child to those things is actually harmful to your child in some way, in terms of saying, if you see a man that's dressed as a woman, maybe they identify as a woman or whatever, but what effect does that have on your child? That's my only, if you believe that it's an outside influence and that people can't be born that way, and it's outside influences that turn people that way, then what you say is true. But I don't think
let me ask you a question, Wogea. Did you hear of the Harvard?
Real quick, Rella, real quick. Let her go ahead and finish up real quick.
Okay, I just want to throw this in here because I want her to think about what she's getting ready to say before she says
I was actually done.
The Harvard study that's getting ready to happen, where they're actually going to be trying to look at studying babies being born and classified as transgender at birth.
They're actually, it's called intersexual is what it's called, unless you're referring to something where it does say transsexual. But intersexual is the medical terminology that I'm familiar with, where you're born with,
No, this is an actual study Harvard is actually putting out that they're actually, they did not say intersexual, they actually used the term trans. And this is where I guess in the realm of what you're talking about is intersectional is, again, whether it's intersectional or you're talking about
intersexual,
whether you're labeling a child intersexual or transgender at birth versus in the womb, when we go to the doctor to have an ultrasound done to determine the sex of the baby, the parents should be able to, with their doctor, identify the sex of their child. And the only sex that you can prove to be chosen are both boy or girl, because a boy has a penis, a girl has a vagina. So if you're telling me that when a child is born now, because a study coming out of Harvard, that a parent who goes into the hospital who is for trans supportive of the trans community and wants to label their child trans, now we're saying that because of a parent who is affirming of the trans community now can give their child the term trans. How is that being born trans? Because you now have taken away an individual's ability to even recognize their gendered sex at birth that was actually diagnosed by a physician, to now say that we want to have these particular terms introduced at birth because it has never been done before. It's never been introduced into the medical community. The science behind it is not supporting it. But because you have a group of people who support the trans community, they're saying now, don't tell children how to believe and think. Maybe you're trying to influence your child to be a heterosexual. And I'm thinking to myself, how is that when heterosexuals don't talk to their kids about sex between a man and woman until they're old enough to understand? So now we're at a place where we should be telling them, you don't know if you're transgender. You don't know if you like this is the lens we're supposed to walk in as adults? This is my problem that I have with the LGBTQ community. because a lot of people are for the grooming of children, and then they turn around and say, well, heterosexual people do it all the time. You tell a boy that he's a boy. Well, is that wrong? Because we're not telling a boy to go have sex with girls. We're not telling them any of that stuff. We talk to boys and girls like they are. As a mother who has had children, I'm not going to sit there and be telling my sons to go out and behave like girls, and vice versa.
All right. Thank you, Rella. I believe it's Acasta.
Can I just respond really quick to that? I think it brings a question to my mind in terms of what people are doing. So I'm not familiar with that study, and I am a nurse. I've been a nurse for 20 years, so I am interested in looking at that. But it brings a question into my mind of when they do that ultrasound, what are they telling people? How are they going to change this ultrasound? You're having a girl, you're having a boy, or do they say, well, it's kind of ambiguous in those circumstances when the genitalia is in question, because you shouldn't be telling people they're having one or the other if it's questionable at that point. But I think that's a little bit different. That would be the intersex thing from what you're talking about, transgender. But
no, that's not true. That's not true, because you got 3 trimesters during a pregnancy, and they can tell you the sex of your child, and they ask you, do you want to know what it is?
No, I know.
They say, do you want to know what it is?
But my thing is, if they're saying what you're mentioning, this study, are they changing their protocols now for that? I didn't state it as a fact. I posed it as a question. My question would be, are they changing that? Are they changing those?
Yeah, in the study, are they trying to redefine sex? Because that's exactly what you're explaining that this Harvard study is, and that is the problem. That is what they're doing. They're trying to redefine not only gender by adding all of the a-binary, non-binary, all this other stuff, and trying to redefine sex. And how do you redefine sex? That's science. That is biology. It is what it is. Sex is biology, what you are born with. Gender is the role that you choose in life, how to live your life. So to your study in Harvard, that is a problem, One Love, because this is how it all starts. And you're talking about Harvard, where they have billions of dollars, right? And a lot of research that come out of Harvard end up being approved by the CDC, the FDA, the NIH, and everywhere. So what they're trying to do is redefine humans and how we are conceived. What do we call ourselves? They're just trying to redefine us all. Now you have the AI. So I think this rabbit hole is going deep. And I always say this, that they use LGBTQ regular people, as pawns. And I used to say that to trans sis, and she didn't believe me. But when you have that TikToker saying you're not the gatekeepers to periods, I want to ask her, what made you get up and do that video? Because us heterosexual women was minding our business. You decided to say we're not the gatekeepers. We never said we were, but being that you said it, let me just correct you, because I believe in science. And you will never have a period, because you cannot. Biologically, you cannot. But mentally, you feel as though you want to, or that you do. And that is mental. And what they're trying to do is intersect mental with physical. And now that's the problem.
Yeah. If you don't have a uterus, you're not fucking menstruating. I'm sorry.
Right. But they believe that they are included in menstruating. And that's when you talk about the mental dysphoria. I wish we had an actual psychologist.
And you have women that don't actually have cycles. You have women that suffer from PCOS. So again, we can't just limit it on just to saying that if you don't have a uterus, you're not menstruating, because even women who have to have hysterectomies for whether it's cancer or endometriosis or any type of medical issue, that doesn't take away from the fact that they still biologically have.
No, exactly. That's why we're on the same page.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right, because if she's born with it, it's just a malfunction to where you were never born with it. So it's not that what you have is not working. You weren't born with that engine, right? I have an engine and it's not working. and it's a malfunction, it has to be fixed or it has to be replaced, you never had the engine. But in your mind, you believe you do. And that is something that you have to work out. But now what they're trying to do is force us people that are born with it to redefine who the hell we are. And then if we are pushing back against it, now we're a bigot. But
Okay, real quick, let me get to because I believe there's a caster. Let me go ahead and because they had their hand up for a minute. So sorry if I mispronounced your name, but go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you. My name is a caster, and my pronouns are he, him. I'm gay, and I wanted to say that people who menstruate should try to find a way to come together and to support one another, whether or not you are, born or assigned female at birth, or whether or not you identify as woman and, may or may not choose to transition. We're all humans at the end of the day. And I want to say to some people within the straight community, we don't teach hate in my household. So anyone that is saying, or like I'm going to quote someone where they said that they condone, or that whether or not women are condoning anything, you can't condone anything or not condone anything because you don't have any power to control other people. The only thing you have control over is yourself and your children. If you don't want your children to be don't want your children to be homosexual, then I don't know what to tell you. All you can do is teach them to be heterosexual, and if they're gay, they're gay. Like, at the end of the day, that's between them and the person they choose to be with in the privacy of their own bedroom. I wouldn't be overly interested in, what your child is going to be, attracted to and married to, because at the end of the day, that's between them and another consenting adult. You're not like a third wheel in that relationship. You might envision a future with, grandchildren, or envision a certain future, but at the end of the day, when you have children, they're their own people. They're not carbon copies of you. So if you're heterosexual and you want to produce a heterosexual child, I would suggest adoption and maybe think that child is heterosexual, but at the same time, they have the right to be who they are. And at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with being gay. Someone mentioned something is about eating food, like eating soy. The stuff comes down to being an imbalance. If that's the case, then I'll just eat tons of soy. And I don't eat soy, but I don't want to be heterosexual. I love who I am. I don't need anyone's permission or acceptance. I am who I am at the end of the day, and no one has any power to control what they think.
So,
all right, real quick, hold on, real quick, Dana, real quick. Let me go ahead and everybody up in the Jumbotron. We have the Newstoter YouTube channel up in the actual Jumbotron. That is a third on the right-hand side, If you have not, please go ahead and subscribe to YouTube. For those that's on YouTube, make sure that you go ahead and share, subscribe, and like the video. Make sure you share, subscribe, and like the video, and share the video. Also up in the Jumbotron, we have the Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. So for those that can make a donation, is greatly appreciated. Also, for those that do not have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. We have the PayPal and Venmo up in the Jumbotron. For those on YouTube, that is up in the actual description as well, too. Dana, I'm going to let you say something real quick, but we got some hands up, and I want to get to the new speaker, so real quick.
It was Rella.
And I'm sorry, Rella.
To Caster. I don't think anyone in here actually mentioned anything about hate. If you didn't like what Muko was saying, then state what you didn't like what he was saying. But to state that he's teaching hate because he has a different ideology in his household than you do, that's not fair. And again, when did it become a hateful thing to teach children to acknowledge that they are biologically born a certain way? That's the part that I don't seem to understand. And this is why I question adults who actually are in the space of factual information, because you came in the space and you identified yourself as he and him, I believe. And at the same time, you also made sure that we understood and respected you by your identification, because no one else would have known. And I didn't check your page, so that is fine. But don't come in and try to again influence yourself on someone else because you believe a certain way. That's not That's not totally fair. That closes down the conversation, and it keeps us in the space of ignoring other groups of people, because you labeled yourself he, they, and then turn around and say persons who menstruate instead of saying women who menstruate.
Real quick, I want to ask Axter, how old are you, if you don't mind?
22. I said my pronouns are he, him.
Yeah.
I'm biological male, and I identify as he, him. And I said people who menstruate, not women who menstruate. People.
Okay. Well, how old are you? How old are you, Axter?
22. I'll be 23 in like 2 months.
And this is the reason why I asked that, right? Because Gen Z, y'all programmed to believe in or accept and take a pronoun, to whereas LGBTs from my generation to this day, they don't do the pronouns. They just, my name is XYZ, right? They don't say my pronouns are, unless you some white liberal person that's one of the people that created that. And I think also it is a generational difference with the Gen Zs and the LGBTQ community and the older baby boomers and older and Gen X and older LGBT community, because and then like you said, people that menstruate, well, the people you're referring to are women, but your generation, y'all selectively now choose selective words for certain categories.
We just want to be inclusive of everyone. Sometimes with language.
But you're being inclusive of women. How are you being inclusive of everyone when the only people who menstruate are female biologically? That means a trans male who was once a female still has a reproductive system. We can respect a trans man if that's how they wanted to identify, but we're not going to be untruth about who actually has a reproductive system. Men don't have reproductive systems.
At school,
and that is biologically a fact.
I
want to jump in.
We don't use, that's not the terminology that's used. It may be for you, but we want to include everyone and whatever their gender is. I mean, it's not that many people that identify that way, but it's not that much of an extra effort just to be inclusive. So like the title of the room is Trans Says Women Gatekeep Periods. What that means is that people that are trans or people that whatever they identify as feel as if they're ostracized from products that would be used and things that are for people that are menstruating by companies marketing things a certain way. They just
then ask the company to.
Okay, real quick.
Wait 1 second.
Yeah, because I want to get because we got Black and we got
I understand. Wait, Newstoter, hold on for 1 second. Because Jess say wanted women up here to talk, but I just want to be clear. Actually, don't think that. And I don't want other people that come up here, whether it's heterosexual, gay, or whoever, to think that somebody is gaining up on you. And don't take it that way, because that's not how I'm approaching anybody. But I will say this the reason why I asked you your age, and I'm saying Gen Zs, because you guys are being indoctrinated into that language, and it starts in the institutions. I was introduced to all these different pronouns when I went back to college, right? And I was like in my 30s, late 30s. And I'm like, what is all this? And they were like, oh, this means this means that. And then I go to my friends who just so happen to be gay, but they're older. They're like, I don't feed into all that BS. But I understand where he's coming from, because that's what he's being taught if he's in college and high school. That's what they're teaching the kids, indoctrinating you guys into these pronouns. Now, but what I'm saying is, and what Willa is saying, the real world, especially depending on the age group that you're talking to, do not accept the pronouns, and you should respect that too.
Yes, I understand that, and I respect your opinions, and I'm not here to change anyone. I'm just here to state a different opinion, and I feel like personally for me, it's good for me to be adaptable and to be open-minded and to be flexible. So I'm a very flexible person, so that's no sweat off my back. So if people want to be called a certain thing, that's fine with me. Using inclusive language and addressing people the way they want to be addressed, that's something I'm going to do. It's not a big deal to me.
All right, thank you. I want to get to, because we got a couple new speakers, so I want to get the Black majority state, and I want to get the male as well too. So, Black, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Newstoter, and to the co-host. I want to first start off and say that I respect all people no matter what the gender, no matter what the title, I respect all human beings. We had a space last night that started on this particular topic, the LGBTQ mafia, and we were cooking in that space. Rella brought up the Harvard course. It's actually a course where they are going to teach people how to identify LGBTQIA plus children as newborns. I put it in the chat. So this is an actual course. There's another thing happening at Duke University in which they're actually training OBGYNs to transition toddlers, 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old. These are 3 universities in North Carolina: Duke, UNC, and ECU. This is a cultural war, and we are losing. In the space last night, I said it's probably too late, and I came across the Heal.com story where they said in 2015, 11% of students identified as LGBTQ. As of 2021, it's up to 26%. So this generational gap is actually already in place, and it's already been indoctrinated inside the school system, to Dana's point. And it's happening at all levels of childhood education, even in elementary school. So it is very likely that in 10 or 15 years, half of the people coming out of these indoctrination camps may identify as LGBTQIA+. Now, what does that do to the population and reproduction? It has to at some point become a thing where the natural balance of humanity is so far off that you're no longer producing children because of this same-sex living. I'll call it that just to kind of keep the respectful terms, but this is not the path that humanity should be on in massive numbers. It always was a small percentage, and I never had a problem. I had friends that were, even as a child, that were gay. I had several gay friends. I had a girlfriend that grew up to be a full-blown lesbian. Never had a problem, never had an issue. The problem today is that these people are being weaponized politically against our children and politically against our population, because they are putting themselves in places to cause harm to us. And I'll give a clear example. There was a black woman who created a tech company, something to do with girl coding or something of that nature. Well, they brought in a LGBTQ
Black Girls Code.
They brought in an LGBTQ personality to come into the company, and then because she misgendered the people, they were able to take her company away from her. This is weaponization of these genders. There's also a new term out called Trantifa, which is the combination of trans and Antifa, which is like the trans male. I think she started off as a woman and she became a male. She's taken these hormones, which in my opinion act like roid rage, because you have a woman who's never dealt with this level of testosterone, and she's angry, and now she has mental muscles of rage, and now she has an AR-15 in her hand, and all these rounds of weaponry and artillery. So I think that this is just going to continue to grow, unfortunately. There have been multiple attacks from this particular population around the country recently. It seems to be a new phenomenon. But if you're pumping yourself with these chemicals and these hormones that your body wasn't naturally made to handle, it, to me, is just common sense that eventually this rage would come out. And I'll end on that.
All right, thank you, Black. Let me go ahead and get to Mel. Mel, how you doing? It's been a little while since we heard from you. Hope you're hanging in there okay.
Yeah, I'm hanging in there fine. Thanks for letting me up. Shout out to everybody in the room. Alistair. So it was interesting what you said, and two things. I just wonder what the society was doing back in the day when Noah was alive, and the Lord flooded the earth because the people had become so wicked and evil. What were they doing? Because this seemed like to me like the way our world is now. It's like, should we be looking for another flood? That's just, But, Alstar, you use the term inclusive, and I would beg to differ with that term and switch that out to intrusive. Because there's a thing about including people where the main group wants to include. You understand what I mean? But the way this situation is coming about, it's I don't know how to put all the alphabet mafia. I'll just use Black's term. The alphabet mafia is coming through saying, look, we about to bogart and intrude on your own natural being. We're not trying to change what science has designated or what science has found and what has been the protocol for since whenever. But now we have this new generation, and it's not inclusive, it's intrusive. What I don't understand is why y'all can't call it something different. Why do you have to come in, intrude, and then and we're wrong if we're saying, hey, that's not how it goes. Why can't y'all make up your own term? And if you believe that whatever y'all want to call it is the equivalent of administrating, then why that? Why intrude? And do y'all even know the difference between inclusive and intrusive? Because this is just like, it's like ridiculous from that perspective.
All right. Thank you, Mel. Hey, guys, up in the Jumbotron tomorrow night, we have that. Did I put that Twitter space in there for tomorrow night? Tomorrow night, we have our Twitter space. Where we're going to be talking once again about it's going to be pretty much the second part of the space we had Thursday about Black immigrants wanting their split of the reparations. That's up in the Jumbotron. I thought I put it up in there, but apparently I didn't. So I will go ahead and put that back up in there. But tomorrow night, make sure you catch us 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be about Black immigrants and the claim that they have on reparations. It'll be a part two, basically, of the space from Thursday night. So make sure that you come in, you tune in, you check it out, participate. Also, guys, we got over 70 some odd people up in the Twitter space tonight. For those that can at least make a $1 contribution to Newstoter.com, the largest Black-owned Black American news media curation platform today in America. It would be greatly appreciated. $sign Newstoter, $sign Newstoter. Also, make sure you visit Newstoter.com daily. Newstoter.com is one of the largest sources of Black curation news in America, the largest source of Black news curation of news in Black America today. So definitely make sure you visit Newstoter.com. Use it as an encyclopedia to keep you up to date on breaking news in Black America. Once again, $sign Newstoter, $sign Newstoter. For anybody that's able to contribute to not only tonight's broadcast, but to also the platform, the largest curation Black-owned news media platform today in America. Let me go ahead and I see we have Ooh-wee, go ahead and unmute your mic. Let me get you up in here. I want to hear what you got to say.
What's up? How is everybody doing today?
Hey, what's up?
I can be heard clearly?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I just wanted to come in and say a couple of things. One of them was the comment that Dana made about indoctrination and the separation between the generations. And there was a thing where she said that something about terminology and no, that's fine. Terminology and the names for genders. First off, sex and gender are two different things. But my second point was terminology is, I think, something that's confusing a lot of everyone here, so long as I've been listening specifically, because a lot of people have been either misusing terms or mispronouncing. But I think confusion is one of the main things that sparked this conversation, which really didn't even need to be had in the first place, only because it feels like there is something that was going on along the lines of trying to say that trans women cannot have periods. Obviously, they can't. That's not biologically a thing. That's not what was being argued or should have even been brought up as something to have been argued about. The argument was originally about periods not belonging to people who only identify as women. because there are people who are born with vaginas who don't identify as women, and those people. That's the only thing said. It's just saying that people, trans men and or non-binary, also can have periods because they were born with vaginas. I'm not debating that people can or can't be born with vagina. I'm not debating this is a thing. I'm debating with you about the fact that sex and gender are two different things. And because people have gender identities that might not align with their genitalia, then that might be something that comes up as confusing for some of the people in the chat. Did everybody catch that?
No, I caught it, and I'm not confused about anything because I did say in the beginning and a couple other times afterwards that sex and gender are two different things. Sex is what you're born with. Gender is the role you choose. So I made that very clear.
But also,
right. You're right.
This is the
Okay,
problem.
wait.
No, hold on, because this is another issue that I have when it comes to parroting points. If you are not in the medical community, you would not use that sex and gender are comparatively different. Actually, they state that sex is a categorization of female or male, but the variations in the biological attributes compare sex and gender, and they are expressed the same because of the roles that men and women take when they identify themselves genderly. That's why you have someone who is a trans woman saying, I have more femininity traits versus I have masculine and feminine traits, because they were both born a male and they identify as want to identify as a woman. So again, the parenting points that the community seem to utilize when they make those comments, as if, again, they're talking to a group of ignorant people because they now want to be recognized as a particular identifier, does not change. Just because you may, I'm not. Because I'm clear. I am clear. Sex-wise, I am clear. Sex-wise, I'm a biological female who can display both masculine and feminine traits. I am clear that I am a biological woman who has a period, and sometimes an irregular period, if I have a hormonal imbalance. I am very clear on that. And medically, I'm clear on that too, because I speak to my doctor, who is a GYN, who also makes it clear that I have a reproductive system that deals with the environment around me and it affects me. So I'm not going to sit here and be placated because you believe that someone is somehow mixing up the two, because you want people to believe that one has nothing to do with the other when they actually says it. And matter of fact, NIH also says it. No, but that's your statement. Your statement coming in here is trying to make people believe that having this conversation is that we're misusing terms because we are trying to misidentify people based on how they want to show up socially. That's not true. Trans people and people in the LGBT community have a specific life experience that hetero people do not. That should be respected.
Let me ask you a question. What is it? A username. How old are you?
Are you talking to me? I'm sorry. Yes. My name's Project. I'm 31.
31. Okay. And I did mention this. I don't know if you caught it. That I'm going to intersect generations and ages into this discussion tonight, because the Gen Z and very young millennials such as yourself, again, your generation thinks differently. You accept all of these different terminologies of inclusivity. I'm tearing up that word. Yes. And also, wait a minute, one more thing. And also, whether you went to college or in high school, you are being indoctrinated with all these different pronouns and all of these different roles that people choose. But the problem is the gatekeepers, right? The gatekeepers of the LGBT cult, because it is a cult. There's the gatekeepers that control the cult. they are trying to re-identify science and interlude all of the pronouns and all of the genders into one to eliminate what humans are actually born, man or woman, vagina, penis. So,
okay, when you speak of the doctor, they're not going to ignore your biology. That's first.
Hey, real quick, can you speak up hold on real quick. Can you speak up a little bit louder if possible?
I'm sorry. When you speak with a doctor, they're not going to ignore your biology. That doesn't make sense. But we're having a conversation about terminology, right? Terminology evolves over time. There was a point in time where it was okay to call Black people Negroes. Is that still okay?
No, that is okay.
Yes. Yeah. Kind of is.
Walk up to you and call you Negro. Would you be okay with that? Yes. Don't please do not bring up Black culture.
You would not, because you would not. Hold on, Dana. You would not be okay with that because you do not sit in the realm of history, and this is the reason why we have these issues now. If someone called you Negro and you don't know your lineage and you don't know that how Negro evolved over time, you would be offended. You would be highly offended because you don't understand that history has been hidden so much so that it is part of the lineage classification. It's one of the very first. And that was actually pointed out in history. And because it changed, just because it changed does not make it. Just because it changed does not make it a point of conjecture for you to say that it's offensive to everyone else.
Wait, and also let me wait.
White woman walked into me and called me a Negro.
Okay, wait a minute. But sex does not evolve over time. That doesn't change. Biology does not change. That's not evolving.
Gender identity evolves over time.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Hold on. Well, yeah, but Dana, hold on real quick, Dana. I'm gonna let you go ahead and answer him because, like I say, this is going nowhere. And then we're gonna go to the next speakers. It's going to shit because it's going to shit. It's going to shit. It's going to shit. Straight up, it's going to shit. How does sexual identity evolve over time? It's going to shit. But go ahead. I'm gonna let you get it in. It's going to shit.
This is what I'm saying to you, Uwe. You're saying gender evolve. No, gender is what you choose.
I'm sorry. My name is Broderick.
Oh. Well, why don't you change it? I'm seeing O, so I'm not going to keep clicking this. I'm not going to remember your name. I'll go off what people have on the screen. But my point is, gender is what you choose. As if you're choosing something. It ain't evolve. You're choosing something. You choose to accept a certain lifestyle. So we're not confused. You are, but the fact
that there's only two genders that you can pick between, male or female. So if you're telling me that you're choosing to identify identify as a gender female or a gender woman or a gender man, and then turn around and say, oh, they're not the same as sex. Well, a man acts a certain way. A female acts a certain way. So you're telling me if you're telling me that you're going to choose to be a female and still behave like a man, then we're going to say that you're what?
Gender and sex are two separate things.
Okay, you're right, buddy. You're right. It's two separate. See, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is what I'm talking about. Like men don't have time for this kind of. Hold on. This is what I'm talking about. Men don't have time for this kind of stuff right here. When we come out and say exactly how we feel, then we get labeled this and labeled that. And dude, if you want to say that it evolves over time, we know there are two damn sexes in this. There's male and there's female. This whole stuff about the trans, this and that and stuff, this stuff doesn't happen for the last 10, 15 years. This wasn't happening 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago, 100 years ago. This is something, a recent phenomena that's been pushed politically and everything else. But if you want to sit here and say that, fine. Like I say, we don't have time for this kind of nonsense. Oh, please, I can't. Please go, because this is like hearing people with their nails on a chalkboard just screeching in my ear.
Let me just ask this one more question. So you choose whatever gender you're saying is fluid. So let me ask you this though, because gender is about the roles that you choose to live. If the boat is sinking, do you get on the lifeboat with the women, or do you stay on the sinking ship with the men? What do you do? Okay, goodbye, sir. Because now you bullshit, and that has everything to do with, because we're talking about your role you play in life. Do you, wait, I'm asking you, but what would you do? Would you get on the lifeboat with the women, or would you stay on the boat that's sinking with the men? Everyone's asking, bro.
Okay, dude. Yeah, okay. Go ahead, listen.
And this is why I bring up age. And I'm sorry to everyone, because I know that's Newstoter's job, but this is why I bring up age. This is why I bring up your generation. And I don't want to call nobody dumb, and I'm not going to do that, but you're so misinformed, you are so miseducated, and you're allowing yourself to be indoctrinated with some bullshit.
Yeah,
That's what I said.
hey, bro, I'm gonna remove you from the speaker. I don't even want to hear that no more. You sitting up here, you sitting up here with the Michael Jackson voice. Like, I mean, get out of here, dude. Like, come on, stop.
People can't. This is why I'm saying when we're having these conversations, I just feel like even if you are LGBTQII, you can't seem to be honest.
Hold on, Drella. This joker, like, he can barely open his mouth when he asks the question. He's sitting up here. He's back. Fuck out of here. Fred.
I think at this point if it was to get on the lifeboat or stay on the ship, they would even use women in the lifeboat, men on the ship. They'd be working with the pronouns and
they all gonna jump on that lifeboat.
There you go. All day.
And then, they'll ask you first before you try to get on. Well, how do you identify?
Right.
Let's get to some new speakers, because I really just do, and we're gonna get to our other speakers as well. I want to get to the new ones. I'm gonna get to you, B more as well. I know I'm gonna get to the new speakers. I'm gonna get to you. Let me give a shout out to Dusty Pookie on YouTube. Thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate that, Dusty Pookie. But this dude here was sitting up here just cutting up, man. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get to VJD. I'm gonna get to Fred. And I'm going to get to Mikos as well. So I'm going to get to you guys right now. Let me get to Fred. Then I'm going to get to VJD, and I'm going to get to Mikos. Go ahead, Fred. How you doing tonight?
Hey, can you hear me?
You're a little bit low, Fred. Can we get you louder?
All right. Can you hear me now?
About this. To Mel? Did she drop down?
Who? Oh, yeah. Mel was up and she went down. Yeah, she must have dropped down. Go ahead, Fred.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Sensible, sane Black people sit up here and even have to have a discussion like this, because it's just this simple. When somebody tries to make up some type of category that does not exist, there's no such thing as a transsexual. It does not exist. Now, for the ones who are, I believe it was Black Minority States said, one of the things they're doing is they're trying to weaponize this against Black people. Because look at this. And notice how these Democrats, everybody want to act confused when it comes to something that undermines Black people. But notice when that quote unquote non-binary shooter, who was a biological male, shot up in Colorado, wherever it was, notice how they sent him to a male prison. They were not confused. So when it comes to something like trans and non-binary, it does not exist. All it is weaponized against Black Americans. And as far as how they want to identify, I'm a darker complected Black male. I cannot go out and identify as a white man to avoid racism and to get compensation. I can't say I'm a Jew. I'm a transgender or transracial or religion, whatever. Until we get reparations is paid for to Black Americans, descendants of U.S. slaves, nobody's going to get to reclassify as shit till we get that. Now, mute.
All right. Thank you, Fred. Let me go ahead and get to VJD. VJD, go ahead and unmute your mic. You there, VJD? Give it 1 second. Let me see. VJD, are you there?
Well, VJ comes on Newstoter. Let me read this. This is straight off of the NIH website.
Wait, hold on, Rella, hold on real quick.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are they on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
sorry. For some reason, my audio keeps going in and out. Like, I totally missed that whole conversation I was having with the young boy. But, so this is my issue, because I've seen the whole Just Hilarious back and forth with T.S. Madison, and I've been keeping up with the trans situation here and there. As a Black woman who identifies as a woman, what bothers me is before this got out of hand and I was seeing the snowball effect, I kept saying that they were trying to make biological women obsolete. And it seems to me that every turn, whenever they get on TV or YouTube, they make it their business to discredit women in every biological form. They reduce us down to walking wombs. They want to call us bleeders. They called us breeders at one point. I mean, it's really offensive. And anytime we come out swinging, we're like, nah, we're not going for that. We're being called transphobic because we're not trying to go along with this agenda. I don't care that you're a man and all of a sudden you woke up one day and you wanted to be a woman. Do you, boo? But at the end of the day, it does boil down to biology. You cannot refute biology, because when you land on that slab in the morgue and they about to put you on the ground and they doing the autopsy, your prostate is still there. Everything that identified you as a biological male is still there, minus your penis and your balls, because you probably had sexual reassignment surgery. But other than that, everything about you biologically is still a man. And then they don't want to acknowledge the fact that because they were raised men and then all of a sudden had this coming to Jesus epiphany that they want to be women, they still carry a lot of misogynistic views when it comes to women. We're told to shut up in so many words. We're told that we are so insignificant in so many ways. We can never speak up for ourselves. There is no way in hell, no way on God's green earth is a man who's presenting as feminine going to sit here and tell me that he's more of a woman than I am. My question is always how? How are you more woman than me? I gave birth to a whole human. Can you do that? Like, life comes through women. How are you so disrespectful to those who gave you life? Like, I don't get this. I don't understand how, people are sitting by and letting the whole women's movement just go to shit because you letting a group of men who identify as women just come in and trample on everything women have came before us and trailblazed. Women's sports, that's something we fought for. Everything that women fought for, y'all handing over to men, down to beauty pageants, like you're handing over to men. Nobody wants to sit here and argue this because people are so scared about what the LGBTQ is going to do. It is about money. It is about indoctrination. But it saddens me that a man who can go get all this plastic surgery to deceive and lie can sit on TV and everywhere else and tell other women who are comfortable in their womanhood, who express their experiences in their womanhood, who rally behind women. You can sit here and tell those women who are standing up and saying, I identify as a woman, I know I'm a woman, no matter what, I know I'm a woman, I bleed, I go through menopause, blah, 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 blah. You're going to sit here as a man who identifies as a woman and tell that woman, I don't give a shit what you've been through. I don't care what the fuck you identify as. I'm still going to call you cis, gender. You're going to recognize me as a woman. And if you don't, I'm going to put that transphobic label on you and make your life a living hell. Like, to the point where you ask women, what is a woman? And they're so scared to even identify from biology what a woman is. Like, I was watching a video where it was a round table of women and the guy asked them, what is a woman? And nobody wanted to answer it because they were so scared. One out of all the women stood up and said, this is a woman, blah, 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 blah. And all of them couldn't even stand beside her and uphold her and be like, yes, this is what a woman is. When you got Ketanji Brown can't even explain to you what a woman is, this whole situation is just weird to me. I'm identifying as confused right now because I don't get it. It's like, look, women don't need to share spaces with men at all. Because if that was the case, the WNBA would not exist. They would be out there hooping it up with those boys in the NBA. Nobody had an issue when the female basketball players wanted to have a whole lane. But when we talk about them having a lane to themselves and doing whatever it is they need to do, they seriously get offended because they want to take up space where women are. It's really, I'm going to say it, I said it before and I'm going to say it again. They really truly want to make biological women obsolete. And then I'm trying to figure out, like the guy that spoke before, how are you going to procreate if you keep having same-sex relationships? Like, the mortality rate is already dwindling down among a certain community. So my whole thing is, if all these men want to identify as women, how are y'all going to procreate? It's just weird. And then you have all these conspiracy theories going on about taking wombs and transplanting wombs in men's bodies. And then if you're going by a scientific approach and a biological approach, and you start asking questions like, how are you going to support a womb? Your body is not built for that, even if they could. How are you as a man going to support a womb? And how are you going to have a child? Like, there's so much to this. There's so many nuances to this. It's weird and it's crazy. And I think that women need to rally behind all biological women need to rally behind each other. And it's not that we're trying to be transphobic. It's not that we're trying to be offensive. It's really down to fighting for our survival at this point. Like, you have so many women who want to be allies to them, but they're slowly and surely, like, destroying relationships when they do stuff like this. Like, you can't sit here and tell women that we don't own womanhood when you went through your whole life from a boy to a young man to a man. You have manhood in your history, and now you want to tell us what womanhood is about? You don't know what it is to have your first period. You don't know what it is to have a pregnancy scare on this end. You don't know what it is to sit in them stirrups and have speculums stuck up in you and getting swabbed. You don't know what none of that is. You don't know what menopause feels like for a woman. You don't know what it feels like to feel a baby kick. You don't know what it feels like to push a baby out. That's womanhood. Y'all don't know none of that. But you want to tell us what we don't own. Well, I'm sorry, but we own it. In every aspect of it, we own it. We are the womb keepers and we are the life bringers. We own it. I'm sorry. Not trying to be disrespectful. And that whole thing with old boy about the difference between gender and sex, yeah, I get all of that. But I also understand that when you ask them, what does it feel like to be a woman? They come up with these arbitrary answers. You think wearing high heels, going back to Dylan Mulvaney, you think wearing high heels and beating your face and getting your hair done, that encompass a woman? Like, that's all you see as to what womanhood is about, wearing frilly, pretty little things and giggling and all this other antiquated bullshit that they describe women doing? That's what y'all think womanhood is about? It goes so much deeper than bras and high heels and beating your face. It goes so much more deeper than that. But they don't want to address the fact that there is a level of mental illness attached to this. Because how do you get up and say, I feel like a woman, but when a woman is asking you, well, what does it feel like to be a woman, and they can't give you a straight answer? They giving you all these stupid ass replies that, okay, you're talking about the visual. If you going off of feelings, what does it feel like to be a woman? I don't know what it feels like to be a man. I raised a boy and I couldn't even tell you what it feels like to be a boy. I don't know what it feels like to be a man. So I get it. From the women's perspective, when we're arguing this and we're like, look, y'all can't take up space where women have fought for this space. But like I said, being raised a man and you have been in your manhood up until the point that you decided that you wanted to be a woman, you still carry misogynistic ideologies and theologies, and you're pushing misogynistic narratives. So it's really hard for a lot of women now to get behind this and be allies because they're burning bridges left and right. So I totally get the argument with the women on the panel tonight. I heard a lot of stuff that made sense. I feel you. So just keep standing up for us because it's really getting, this is mental gymnastics that a lot of us we're starting to get angry. We're really starting to get angry because a lot of this shit does not make any sense at all.
All right, thank you. VJD Mikos was up here, but he must have stepped down. I see my man Professor is up in the space tonight. Shout out to my boy Professor, chilling up in the cut. What's up, Professor? Glad to have you up in the space as well too. So definitely glad to have you up here. What's up now? Let me give a shout out to Miss Carolyn and Miss Rerod. Thank you for your contributions on Cash App. For anybody else?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm done.
Oh, okay. I thought you was done because you went quiet there. But let me give a shout out to Miss Carolyn and Rera. I see Carolyn over there in the YouTube land. Carolyn, make sure you go ahead and share this this broadcast out tonight as well to everybody in YouTube. Make sure you guys go ahead and share out the broadcast as well too. Once again, shout out to Carolyn. Shout out to Rera as always for always supporting the platform. Love these sisters. Let me also, like I said, I had to give a shout out to my man Professor up in here as well too. Professor, you hadn't had a chance to speak, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and get you up in here real quick as well too. Anybody that wants to donate, once again, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. We got a bunch of people up in the space. Some of y'all y'all not subscribed to us on YouTube. Up in the jumbotron on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side. The third on the right-hand side is a Newstoter YouTube channel. You can go ahead and click that and go right over to YouTube and subscribe as the space is going on. You won't miss a beat. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe while the actual space is going on. Definitely go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also visit newstoter.com daily to stay up to date and informed on breaking news in Black America. Visit newstoter.com daily to stay up to date on what's going on in Black America today. Shout out to Be More Codified as well too for your donation on Cash App as well too. We also have the Venmo and PayPal up there for anybody that does not have the actual Cash App. Tomorrow night, I got it up in the space too. Tomorrow night is a continuation of that space that we're going to be talking about. It's on the left-hand side, and it is titled Black Immigrants Demand Equal Reparations. That's in the left-hand side. You guys go ahead and tweet that out. Black Immigrants Demand Equal Reparations. That's going to be kind of like a part two from the space we had Thursday night, which was a pretty good space. So make sure you check us out tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me go ahead and get to I'm gonna get to Be More because I know you've been waiting for a minute, Sister You and Black Majority, and I'm gonna get to you as well, Professor. So I'm gonna get to you as well. So and like I said, for anybody that's up in the space, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not. And for those that's up in the space, some of you may not be following Newstoter on Twitter. Go ahead and make sure you follow Newstoter on Twitter as well. Stay up to date on Black content as well. Be More Codified. Thank you, sister, for your contribution. Go ahead and say what you got to say. I know you've been waiting for a minute.
No problem. Definitely glad to hear the other ladies in the space to speak, and even from the gentleman as well. But I did want to just I'm glad we got back on topic because that was a little it's easy to get distracted when you have crazy things brought up. Crazy switch arounds, different tangents brought up. So definitely, I'm glad we got back on topic. But the other thing about the issue is that, you know, I can't believe, especially for the women who are not offended by this, as far as, not saying anybody in here has said that so far, but just as far as the women that don't feel like they need to take a stand on this issue, because one of the main supporters of, especially, are trans. So for them who are usually supported by women, because men don't typically go to drag shows, but even just different issues in the community over time, as other people have said, where women have traditionally been more accepting of that, and even in the sense that now styles are originating from trans type of styles in order to make someone look more feminine, even though if you're a female, you are feminine, even if you're the most masculine in what you do, even if you're a tomboy, whatever you want to call it, but you are still a female. So the fact that you would even, one, have to go to the resort of using a trans style for makeup, it just shows how much the society that we're in, especially racism, white supremacy, is in support of eliminating that family, not just the Black family, but as far as just the family period, because you can't create a family if you don't have women. And if you have women out interacting or trying to position themselves as men, then obviously they're not going to be bearing children typically, or they're not going to reproduce even. So they're not going to reproduce, but also they're not going to continue what it is to be a woman. They're not going to be those examples of womanhood. I mean, without the example of womanhood, how would you know that you don't want to be a man? So the idea of them coming at us is ridiculous, but it just shows how it's always been necessary to take a stand. Anytime I've seen or witnessed men trying to portray that girliness, even a lot of the comedians who will dress up as women for a joke, I have to cringe at that. I can't, and even more so than cringe, I don't subscribe to it, I don't follow it, I don't watch it, because the idea is, where do we draw the line? If we drew the line before, we wouldn't even be in this position to begin with. But because we've been so accepting and we haven't been as stern about these issues to not only maintain the definition of womanhood in the eye of everyone and the understanding of what womanhood is, and not getting lost in all these different names and labels or categories, all these little boxes that people are trying to fit themselves into in order to become exclusive. Because to me, that inclusive thing is a misnomer, because it's really you trying to become more exclusive. If you were about inclusivity, why do we need to have all these different labels? We would just.
Can I ask you a question,
be necessary?
Can I ask you a question? Because you mentioned, you said something about the transgender with makeup. What did you say regarding that? I just want to make sure I have it correct.
I was referring to. Sorry, I probably wasn't very clear about that. I was referring to just how the common style for doing makeup currently is using a lot of shading in order to accentuate or make certain features look more feminine. And that originated from men trying to portray themselves as women in the first place. So that's what I was referring to. Like even, I think.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to comment on. Just a slight pushback here, because I get what you're saying when it comes to that, but it was actually the other way around, to where it was the transgender people who identify as being a transgender woman emulating women in the way we do makeup. And then on top of that, right, it's really, and who was doing us women, heterosexual women or whatever, who was doing our makeup was gay men. So, and just to go to the point of transgender women, like women, natural born women, never emulated or copied anything from transgender. It was always done in reverse. So, and when it came to beautifying women, we always had that gay guy who was just an artist and being creative. But the transgender, because you are a transgender woman, you want to be a woman, so you have to emulate us. But we did not take any of your beauty tips. Basically, it didn't evolve from you down to us. It went from us to you. That's what I just wanted to make clear. And I think I want everyone to be clear of that, because they will try to paint this narrative that we're jealous of them, that, they taught us how to dress and how to style. No, if it was somebody teaching, it was a gay man who did not want to have a vagina or did not believe that they were supposed to be a woman. It was a gay man who helped me with beautifying my face with makeup or hair or styles or whatever, not transgender. So I just want to make that clear.
And I'm in the beauty industry, so please let's not try to limit this into that somehow the beauty industry was placated off of those things. I really think that, again, to be honest is to be honest. Whether you are identify as a trans male or trans man, trans female, you're only picking one of the two, and you cannot deny one of the two. And I'm not. And the other person that was up here, trying to say, well, gender is so different, but gender is actually a proximity to sex, because you're only choosing one role, two roles to choose from. But you can display both when you actually are a biological person born out of the womb with a penis or a vagina. A vagina belongs to females because we have reproductive organs and systems that produce humans once a seed is introduced to the female. And that brings me to the Newstoter, to the article above, where a transgender man was menstruating, right? And it says it was painful for that person because it was the first time they ever had their period. That is a bold-faced lie. Young girls don't get their periods in adult age. That's part of adolescence, is you go through your cycle from ages 10 to 14, and you're getting a cycle. So to, again, be so disingenuous, and they put this out into the ethosphere, in the public, for people to consume this information and make it seem like, well, a transgender man just now having his period is just, it's beyond them how this happened. What?
Real quick, let me be more. Was there anything before we get to the new speakers? Anything you wanted to add it before we moved on, real quick?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that I was pretty much trying to say the exact same thing that you just said in a quicker way, just because I was a little distracted by my daughter, so I apologize for that lack of clarity. But I don't disagree that they're copying us. That's exactly what I was saying as far as trans or the men who want to be women trying to emulate women for them to come at us as if we're the enemy, and for them to consistently try to work to demean and reduce women is just insane, since that's exactly what they're trying to emulate. So I went about getting to that point in the wrong way, but I just wanted to clarify that point and just
okay. Thank you, B More. Let me go ahead and get to I see my man Professor's up here. Professor, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, thank you, Newstoter. Good to see you up in with this wonderful topic, because you know how I feel about this topic. Everybody knows how I feel about this issue here, so I don't hold back. And what's up to you, Sister Dana? Good to see you up there. And you too, bro. And,
Hey, dumpster diver, how you doing?
you are a trip. I'm doing fine. How about you?
Good, we missed you.
Well, I miss y'all too. And but you know what I do? I just in a matter of seconds, I might just take my shit down and take a break. That's how I do. So, but you know, when I heard about this topic, I said, okay, I got to come up in here because this is a big concern for our community, where this issue is being pushed heavily onto us. And it's being pushed heavily by this administration. And I hate it. I don't like to say I hate trans people because hate is such a powerful word, but I'm going to say it. I'm not going to ever support your shit. I'm never going to support your movement. I don't want you all up in our movement because what we're trying to do centers around Black American civil rights issues. And what I don't like is these transformers keep coming up in these spaces and everywhere else trying to push this bullshit into our narrative, and we don't want it. I don't want it. I'm tired of seeing these movies about these trans people. Hey, look, man, y'all want to go live an alternative lifestyle, go live your damn lifestyle, but please stop pushing this shit onto everybody else like we supposed to be happy about it. I don't give a damn about the rainbow flags. I don't give a damn about the rainbow at all, okay? All I care about is what's happening with my people, Black American people. And I don't want to be celebrating what you trans people are out here doing. You're trying to replace women. You're trying to replace our beautiful Black women, and you can't do it. Black women are the epitome of all women, period. And these are the women that you're trying to insult by coming up in these spaces and everywhere else with this disgraceful act, because you came up and make up your damn mind what you want to be. Now, that's all I want to know is, can you make up your mind what you want to be? That's what it comes down to. You sit here and give me these spaces, complain about how people picking on you and how society is mistreating you. But hell, you made a choice to go and put on a dress and put on makeup because you don't want to be a man that stands up and protect women. See, that's what I'm all about. A man that protects women. See, you should be protecting the women like Sister Dana, Sister Rilla. That's right. Sister Mary Cruz, Sister Rera. All the sisters up in these spaces, these are the women that we supposed to be protecting, not some damn woman or some man that wants to turn into a woman, right? You want to be a transformer, see? Then I guess when you get pissed off and decide you don't want to be a woman anymore after society just beats you down, then you're going to be like, well, damn, I want to transform back into a man. See, y'all motherfuckers can't make up your mind what you want to do, okay? Just, hey, decide what you want to do. Do you want to be a penis or do you want to have a vagina? Which one is it, okay? But I'm saying to you right now, for all you trans that's up in here, I don't give a damn about your issues because you made these issues for yourself. So please don't come up into Black American spaces trying to say that you got major issues going on that need to be addressed. I don't want to hear it. I don't give a shit about your issues. Black Americans are going through a lot in this country because of our skin tone. See, we didn't make a choice about our skin tone. We didn't make a choice about our color. We didn't make a choice about our ethnicities. You motherfuckers made a choice to go put on a dress because you don't want to be a man that stands up for the true women in the community. And you're a disgrace. Now, I say that to all of you, all you transformers up in here, you are a disgrace, okay? If anything, you should be standing up saying loud and proud, I love Black women and I'm going to protect my Black women. But instead, you want to sit here and take over Black women. You want to be a Black woman. Get the fuck out of here with this shit, okay? I'm gonna land my plane right there because I get really upset with this because this is being pushed very much so to our community more so than others. So I'm gonna land my plane right there. Thank you, Newstoter, Dana, Rilla, Sister Reba.
I gotta ask you a question. So
Yes.
now I understand that you have your position, right?
Yes.
You're not saying that you believe that transgender persons should be harmed in any way. You're saying that you yourself, you are just not with their choice and how they live.
No, he ain't saying that they should be harmed or nothing like that. He's not saying that.
No, that's why I had to make that. I had to say that. That's why I had to say it. And then at the same time, okay. And then at the same time, also the Black community is made up of people who identify differently. We're not. No one is saying that we're not aware of that, right?
Yeah, we're not aware of that.
That's why we having this conversation.
Yeah, we.
And I think that, and I want to caution and say that the Black community understands that there are people who identify differently, but they need to be honest.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know, and let me just put this out here, family. We know that there's all kinds in our community, right? We know we got gay people, we know all of that, right? But what I'm saying is, if y'all notice, when I talk about this issue, what's bothering me with the trans and the LGBTQ, all of that shit, is that they want to take over the narrative of saying that they have a lot of struggles similar or like Black Americans. So they're using our situation, our narrative, our harms to push their agenda, okay? And I want to stop that, okay? Now that I do want to stop. I want to stop them from using us to push what they trying to get done so they can get all the rights and get more equal funding. These are things that are Black American issues that belong to us, and we supposed to be just addressing those issues. I don't care about your transformer issues. You can't make up your mind if you want to wear makeup and a skirt. Hey, that has nothing to do with Black skin in America. You understand what I'm saying? Well, that's what I'm all about. I'm all about us as Black Americans speaking on the issues that pertain to us. All this other shit that they throwing out here, trying to push in with our situation, is what I'm trying to get the trans to see. We don't want y'all attaching yourself to this. You understand where I'm coming from?
We understand it.
Attached to our agenda.
Yeah, we understand it, Professor. So shout out to Professor. I understand 100% what you're saying, Professor. So Professor very opinionated, and he definitely has his opinion. So I'm gonna let Professor rock it that way, and we're gonna move to the next speakers. Shout out to my man on YouTube as well too. Nightfall. I saw you just jumped up in the spot as well. So let me go ahead and get Rera, Sister Rera, up in here as well too. Rera, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. Peace and blessings and reparations to the Newstoter family. I just wanted to just say something really quickly. Just imagine in the 60s and the 70s, had Black people got this amount of inclusion. Imagine them changing the curriculum to say, hey, Black people are cool, be nice to them. If you see them on the streets, don't be scared of them. If you are afraid of a Black person, don't be. Matter of fact, we're going to have some Black people come to your school and read your children books so that you don't have this kind of fear of them. And so the thing that makes this the most disingenuous for me is that we have a bunch of Black trans, we have a lot of Black people in this LGBTQIA, I think, I don't know if there's some more added, but they're not even pushing for that. They're pushing for exclusivity strictly for themselves, even in their Black skin. You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes me the most mad. Because if this would have happened in the 60s and 70s, we would be going into banks getting loans denied. We wouldn't be getting racially profiled driving down the street. You know, this inclusivity that they have for this whole movement is, amazing. Honestly, quite frankly, it's amazing, because had they did partly half of this for us, what they're trying to latch on to, you know, I remember they said being gay is the new black. No, it's not. Being trans and the whole cis thing too, like, you're not going to tell me what I am. You're not going to call me cis. You're not going to call me anything that I don't subscribe to. And it's not no hate towards them or whatever, but I'm a woman, and that's what I'm going to say. I am. Whatever you want to do, that's on you. But I'm a woman. I'm not going to be something cis. I'm not going to be a child birthing person. I'm not going to be any of that. I'm not going to change my whole dialogue in the way that I think and what I've known to be 100% my whole life now, because everybody has a bug up their ass. I'm not going to deceive my own eyes. I'm not going to lie to myself. You know what I mean? And so that's mainly my issue. And as far as them saying that we're gatekeeping periods, I made a post. Listen, if you want it, you can have it. But you can't have it unless you take it from me. Okay? That's how things work. If you want to have a period so bad, you want to be laying in the bathroom on the bathroom floor, you want to be bleeding for 7 days out the week, and don't no other animal or person in this world survive that except for women, then you go for it. Okay? You want to have cramps too. You want to have periods, and you want to go through all this shit, then more motherfucking power to you. But take it from us then, okay? That's all I'm saying. There's got to be some kind of ins and outs with this shit. But it just will never be. So that's why I kind of just laugh at that. See, like, oh, well, I want to, you know, how I got my vagina and it beat me. And it's just like, it's really, really funny. And it just ultimately plays into the mental illness of it all. You know what I mean? Back in the day, it was a mental.
You still there, Re-Rock? It sounds like you might have broke up. Re-Rock, I think you might. Yeah, you're in the Matrix, Re-Rock. Re-Rock, you're in the Matrix. Drop down and come back up. Hey, Re-Rock, can you hear me?
I can hear
You're in the Matrix. Yeah, you're in the Matrix, sister. Black Pressure, go ahead. If she gets a chance to come back up, I'll let her come back up and speak. Black Pressure, let me give a shout out to you, Black Pressure, too. Thank you for your donation on Cash App as well, too. But go ahead, Black Pressure, and go ahead and speak. Hold on, y'all. I see we got the ooh wee. No, I'm not doing ooh wee. No, I'm sorry. I'm not. No. Okay. This dude was. Yeah, this joker was talking just pure mumbo jumbo, magpie mumbo jumbo. He already. Yeah.
I got something for him. Let him stay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm like, I think Black Pressure, man. Let that ooh wee stay up here. All these trans or whatever they are coming up in here, shit, let them come on up here.
Dana, if you see ooh wee again, you a railer, go ahead and send him the invite back up. He just is making my ears bleed with this stuff here, though. But
we gotta be. Let me say this: your new generation, you know, you gotta be open and let the
I was open. He came up here and he babbled the entire time.
Let me say this: no, because I don't think he did babble, and that's why I like having that dialogue. People from that community, and that's why I asked him his age, because we're talking about that generation. But I will say this, Uwe, when it's your turn to speak, you need to project your voice. If your voice is not projected, we're going to drop you down. That's it.
And raise your hand. Oh, we don't speak right now. Raise your hand. Keep your mic muted. We'll get to you. Raise your hand if you want to speak. But okay, Pressure, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, what's up, Black family? Hadn't seen y'all in a while.
What's up?
So,
hey, Pressure.
hey, beautiful. So check this out. So really tag me in with her beautiful narrative. I feel like I got to come off the top rope after she spoke on this. So I'm gonna say this, right? And News, you already know what it is. Everybody in there already know what it is. There is no such phenomenon as transgenderism. That is classic. It is what's the word I'm looking for? It's neat. It's neat. I don't even know how to put my words together. I'm rarely at a loss for words. It's just, it doesn't exist. There is no such phenomenon in the annals of all human existence where you can show me any example where a person changed their gender during their lifetime. I defy any man walking the earth to show me one example where a person went to their grave the opposite of the gender they were born. I don't care what you do. You can cite all of the journals on human biology. You can cite all the journals on human anatomy. You will not find one occurrence of transgenderism in human beings. And like Professor said, if you want to live in a fantasy world, knock yourself out. But I'm going to tell you this, transgenderism is a universal impossibility. It cannot happen. These people, like Professor said, these people live in a fantasy world. And I'm going to say this, and I'm not going to hog the mic, I'm going to say this, and I'm not going to get into this at all. If you care to look it up, you can. This isn't new. The ancients tried this over 3,000 years ago. They physically tried to do that to people, and it didn't work. The Germans tried. With all those sick experiments they were doing, it was impossible to recreate in human beings. So I'm going to come at it from that angle, and I'll mute up and listen.
All right. Thank you, Pressure. Let me go ahead. Fred, I'm going to get to you. Let me get to Rivera. He hasn't had a chance to speak. We want to get the new speakers up in here. Go ahead, bro. How you doing tonight? Rivera, can you hear me?
Me?
No, Rivera.
No,
Rivera, are you there? I'm not sure Rivera is there.
He is. He's there, Rivera.
Oh, yeah.
Rivera.
My bad.
Is it Rivera or is it Riviera?
Riviera.
Okay, that's what I was.
It's a play.
Riviera.
So, yeah. What was that?
No, I just say Riviera, but I say Rivera, but Riviera. Go ahead, you got it.
I mean, either way, I don't mind. It's a pseudonym. So the topic, Lord, I heard somebody talking earlier. This is funny because I think we had this conversation before, and boy, man, it's not a hard topic to talk about. It's, you want to have your period, okay, you want to be a trans woman. Here's my thing about this whole thing about sexuality. If you're an adult, that's fine. But be aware that the more that you push for things, specifically this group, I'm addressing you if you're in the room, the more you're going to find that a lot of stuff that you don't agree with, and I know Newstoter kind of cut me off the last time, is going to become legal as well. Remember in 1974, homosexuality was a mental illness. They got rid of it in 1974, 1975. It was classified as a mental illness. Straightforward, all right? Same thing with, Freud and Carl Jung and all them. They knew that there was something not right with that kind of sexuality. Even with women who masturbated, that was like a no-no. That was a mental issue. That was a mental health issue. Remember, they were giving women Quaaludes from the late 60s all the way through the 80s. So my thing is if you want to have and in my opinion, before I get in trouble, you want to have a mental health breakdown where you think you're having a period, go ahead. I think I'm a wizard, sometimes. Sometimes I think I can make things. Doesn't mean that I can make things for it. But if I truly believe that I can make things float around as an adult, then that's fine. The problem is that these people keep pushing these things and keep pushing them. Well, we want to have babies, and we want to experiment on our bodies, and we want to do this. Well, that just opens up the floodgates for everybody to do weird shit, right? Animal, because it's all based in sexuality. Your butt is not. It's not a sexual organ. It's an organ used to defecate. Your mouth is not a sexual organ. It's you speak with your mouth, you eat with your mouth, you breathe. And if you're a mouth breather, you breathe out as such.
We going, Reverend.
I'm trying not to.
Because some of you men want the mouth to be used. Let's not.
Are we against fellatio in here now?
Exactly.
You can't give birth out of your mouth. Can you?
Because I'm not against.
You can't get that out of your mouth.
Can you booty hole?
Wait, hold on. Let's see where he's going with this at real quick, though.
You can end birth with your mouth, though. You can end it.
Right, but you can't give birth out of your mouth. Am I right or wrong? Can you give birth out of your booty hole when it is?
No, you're right.
Okay, no, that's fine.
You're right, but we do want to see where you're going with this at. But you're right. Go ahead.
Well, I'm trying to make it light without being.
Too late. Riviera, it's too late. Just can you come on now? It's too late. You already gone too far.
Well, they're going to end up adding pedophilia to it.
They already have.
Yeah,
They already have. They already have.
They already have. Well, no, they haven't. Not all the way. It's not.
Yes,
yet.
they have the P. So the P has already been added. They don't consider it. They don't say it's the P as we know is pedophile. They say it's pansexual. That's what they say. But
Or MAP.
MAP. Yeah, that's MAP.
MAP, right.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. You're already there, so you might as well just walk on through the door. We're adults in here.
Right.
If there's kids in this room, you gotta leave. No one. If you're under 18, you can't be in here.
Well,
go ahead.
I'm trying to do this without being mean. It's not about.
It's too late. It's too late. No, I had to make that disclaimer because kids do come in the room. Go ahead.
Well, here's where I'll land. I know I was like, where are you going with this? The point I was trying to make was all of these things are sexual organs. This is all based in sexuality. Now you can say, well, sex is based on gender. My gender is that I have a penis, so I'm a male. My gender is that I have breasts and vagina, so I'm a woman, right? The confusion becomes is when you start saying, well, I have fake breasts, so I think I'm a woman. But you can't give birth. Well, that doesn't matter. So you're admitting that what you're talking about is based in sexuality. Because one of the things that they'll try to tell you is that, well, we're gender fluid. That community will tell you that they're gender fluid. So that means that they don't necessarily have to have sex. They could be, what is it called? Asexual and be a homosexual. Or they can be asexual and be a trans. And that's fine, but that's just, man, I'm trying not to. It goes the same thing with the Jared Folks. All those pedophiles will tell you every time they get caught with all that child pornography, what is the first thing you hear when they do the interview? I didn't plan on touching any kids. I just want to look at the pictures. They got to stop playing this game. They got to stop. Just do what you want to do behind closed doors. If you like men, that's fine. You know, if you want to dress up as a woman, you know, that's fine as well. But when you start pushing agenda, you start getting into politics, and you start saying, especially for our Black LGBTQ family, if you start, that's why I said I wasn't trying to be mean, because but y'all got on this lag first, and this bizarre shit that the white LGBTQ crowd is doing. Y'all know, I know for a fact that the Black folk ain't down with that. They're not. The minuscule ones that are, they're the cared Mohawk motherfuckers, and that's a small minority out of that group. So that's all I wanted to say is that you know, if you're
but they're not speaking up enough, and I think that's the issue. That's the reason why we're having this issue now is because the Black LGBTQ community is so disenfranchised within their own community that they even aren't speaking up against things that they know are correct. Like Storm Monroe just came out and had that interview with what's the guy? The NOI guy. Oh my God, why can't I remember his name?
Ben X.
Uh-huh.
Brother Ben X or Louis Farrakhan?
No, the other guy that just won his case. He had just Yeah. So he did an interview with Storm Monroe, and he was talking about this with Storm Monroe, and Storm Monroe came out and said, and this goes to Dennis' point earlier, this was the age of the conversation and terminology, I guess, to where we was trying to go was that their conversation was not about ignoring sex and gender and who was called what, and they used the term transvestites, and they had a different way of presenting themselves. You didn't see a whole lot of transgender people being caught with little kids. That was mostly, either the oh my gosh, the religious, I'm talking about the pastors mostly getting caught with children, or the kiddie porn and all that other stuff. But now what we're seeing is it's an open door for the white LGBT community they're not even doing flying freak flags. They're doing the most extreme things with children. They're doing the most extreme things even in front of kids. Like when they had their parade. Why are men naked and women naked walking around and children are around?
Well, the question is why they had the kids there, because the gay parade is not for kids.
Yep, same too. But I'm saying my point is there are adults who are again in this community who are making the decision that all bets are off when it comes to protecting kids, but we'll turn around and tell heterosexual adults that we're abusing our children for telling our children to identify their gender and their sex, and it's okay to be a boy and a girl, to wear blue, to wear pink, and these colors are associated with X, Y, and Z, but yet you are okay in this community. No one's uprising, but about the things that are inappropriate, but just hilarious, coming out saying, who's going to stand up for women? And no, we're not going to have this. And we ignore the fact that trans men also are quiet even about this entire topic. They don't come out and say, yeah, I have a period and it's because I transitioned, but I'm still getting my cycle. You don't hear them saying these things. They keep this stuff under wraps, and they hope that biological women like this attorney woman, if she's an attorney, or the woman that spoke out against Jess Hilarious, opens up her mouth and turns her phone on and starts calling her ignorant. Why is she ignorant? Because what she's saying isn't wrong, but she's ignorant because you think that she's not holding a space open for someone. What? I don't understand that.
Brother, if you think about it, you also have to think about all of these priests and these nuns. These nuns have been being raped. Over 1,000 nuns were raped and had children. You know what I mean? So we're expecting for these people to be perfect, and they've proven that they are not. 1,000 priests were sent to jail because of the rape and torture that they were doing to the children and the nuns. These are not perfect people. There is no such thing. For me, I just don't think that there's no such thing as a perfect person.
Okay, let me because we kind of getting going a little bit off topic now. We talking about pedophilia and stuff. So I want to kind of get a gear back a little bit, y'all, back on the actual topic at hand. I know sometimes in the spaces things are kind of going to veer off a little bit. I want to go ahead and get to the hands up as well too. We got Black Majority State. I know he's been waiting for a minute. We're gonna get you, Ray. We'll get you, Fred. We're gonna get you, Uwe, as well too. So I'm gonna go ahead and move it around to the actual hands with the hands up in the air. Rera, if you want to speak, go ahead and put your hand back up as well. We'll get you. We're just trying to get to the hands and let everybody that wants to speak come on up here and speak as well too. So we want to go ahead and get everybody in. Let me go ahead and get to and I'm sorry if I lost the order of things, y'all, as well too. Let me go ahead and get the Black majority state. Black majority state, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay. Thank you. Man, I appreciate this conversation. Again, we've had a couple of these, and I was in like 2 or 3 spaces. Shout out Dana, and then the brother Torin, I think that's how he pronounces it, earlier in the week, last week. So I want to give 3 accounts on Twitter that actually are pro children. It is trans against groomers, gays against groomers, and then this libs of TikTok. They post a lot of this material that is kind of exposing, this trans attachment to children, because it really is this whole idea that they can get their numbers up through children, to be quite honest, and everything else that comes with that. But Miss Mel Cruz mentioned the flood. I sent her something in the DM. I put it in the chat. So, and also someone mentioned the rainbow. So I want to connect those two. So God made a covenant, and that's where the rainbow comes from. Now, whether or not you believe in this religion or whatever is really not the point. The point is that there are groups that take religious symbols and they invert them, they reverse them. So you might see an upside down cross. You saw with the Nazis, they took a peaceful symbol, they turned it around, and they put a negative connotation on that symbol as well. And that's the same thing with the rainbow. So these people have this vitriolic anger towards religion. They took a symbol that had a religious meaning and then they inverted it. That's really occultic type behavior. The Satanists of America and Satanists globally, they worship a demon called Baphomet, and that demon is a transgender demon. He has breasts of a woman, the face of a man, a goat. So there is this occultic.
And don't forget, you have a little white girl on one side and a little black boy on the other.
Little black boy on the other. Man, that statue. Oh my God. Yeah, you're right about that. That is interesting. So I want to shout out VJD, who spoke earlier, because she said something that I don't think I ever thought I would hear. She said, "I'm a black woman who identifies as a woman." And that may just sound like just like a normal everyday statement, but it's actually pretty insane that we live in a society now where that you have to make that statement and you have to make it in light of everything that's going on. That's really, really crazy to me. And then I just want to highlight the YouTube video that I put down there. This was a feminist white female who is so frightened by the transgender movement because she's done the research, and her research has led her to understanding that there are these trans men who are now women who have money and they have influence, and they are a part of this biomedical industrial complex wherein which they want to create industry based on converting people from one gender to another, because it creates a lifetime patient system. It creates billions, hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars, and they have the money, the means, the connections in order to influence things. And she really highlights in that video that this wasn't a grassroots movement. It came from out of nowhere, and the reason it came from out of nowhere is because there's big pharmaceutical money. There's big money behind it. That's why it's in schools. That's why it's in the politicians' mouths. They are literally funneling this agenda into every area of authority, the indoctrination system of the schools and the politics with the legislation. And that's why it is so, so dangerous. The other thing is they are on the precipice of artificial wombs. And some people may believe that that's not possible, but they've already proven it with, I think it was a lamb and or a cattle and a goat. These are very complex organisms that they were able to grow in a bag and bring to full life without the womb of the mother. So we are really on that point where two gays who get together, they can biologically slice off chromosomes, they can produce a child, implant it into an egg, grow it in the lab, and produce a child. We are very, very close to that, and that's where they want it to go.
All right. Thank you, Black Majority State. We're not going to keep the space open too much longer, guys. We got 5 hands up. We're going to go ahead and get to those hands, and then we're going to go ahead and close the space out for the night. So we're going to go ahead and let the speakers speak. And at the end, we'll let the co-hosts, if they got anything to add, they can say something real quick. Dana, I know I told you it wasn't going to be that long. So if you need to go ahead and step out, I understand, but I definitely appreciate you co-hosting tonight as well, too. We're not going to keep the space open.
I just wanted to know if you want to make this be a marathon or not. I was just asking.
Oh, no. I wasn't trying to do the marathon. I was just trying to go ahead and get it in. Like I say, tomorrow night we got that space, so y'all make sure y'all come through. But no marathon tonight. We were just trying to get it a couple hours or so in, and then let everybody go ahead and enjoy their Sunday night. Let me go ahead and get to Black Native. You just got up here, so let me let Black Native go ahead and speak. Black Native, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, what's up, Newstoter? Peace to the
What's up?
I just wanted to say, hey, buddy. Hey, everybody. Hey, Rella. Hey, Dana. Do you think that if I go like tomorrow down to like maybe the Social Security office and say that I'm a white man, you think they'll go for that and I can get like the benefits of a white man? Because
you gotta let me know if they don't. You let me know if they don't, because we're gonna raise hell with all these other people out here claiming they everything else. You better let me know if they give you any problems.
Right, they shouldn't, right? Because in my mind, like when I look in the mirror, I see a white man, so I should be able to claim that, right? I mean, white people.
You gonna say you Elon Musk? You gonna say you Elon Musk?
I'm his niece. I'm the niece of Elon Musk. My name is John Henry. So look. I say that because you notice that white men are the only group of people who still their position in this world is where it's at. They're not going to allow any other race of people to claim their whiteness. But I noticed that with trans women, it seems like there's a attack on natural born women, or what they like to say, cis. I'm going to say it's anti-womanhood. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like we're supposed to adjust who we are or change who we are to benefit them. Even though they try to say we're birthing, they call us birthing parents and cis and all these other titles that they're trying to give us. No, we're just women that were born with vaginas and, periods and uteruses and fallopian tubes. That's what we are. And you can't rename us, recycle us, or anything. It is what it is. It is what it is, and they have to accept that. If you want to be, play dress up and, put on a wig and makeup and heels and, try to say that you're a woman, then I can say that I'm a white man. And nobody shouldn't blink an eye. That's all I want to say.
All right. Thank you, Black Native. Like I say, guys, make sure y'all go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's up in the Jumbotron, third on the right-hand side. We got one person to subscribe to the YouTube channel while the space has been gone. So definitely, for those that have not subscribed to the YouTube channel already, definitely go ahead and subscribe. For those that want to donate on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Let me go ahead and get to Ray. It's been a little minute since we heard from you, Ray. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak on something Professor said that I've said in this space before, but I'm going to repeat it definitely. He said about wanting to take a biological woman's place, and I've said that before. Excuse me. And I said it just like this, and this is mainly, I guess, a question to all the family in here. Like I said, I find it very offensive when I hear a trans person claim to be a woman. I've got 2 daughters. I got a wife. My wife is a woman. Why do you have to take that from her, as a trans person? Why can't you just be trans and be happy? is it really asking too much to allow my wife to be a woman and you just be trans? Why is it so crucial for them to classify as a woman when you're trans? It's very hurtful for them to basically try to erase women and put themselves in their place. I land there.
All right. Thank you, Ray. Let me go ahead and get to Fred. Fred, go ahead and unmute your mic. You there, Fred? Fred is disconnecting. Ooh-wee, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You weren't going to really listen to anything I had to say. I already kind of caught that when I came into the...
Because you was babbling, my boy. You was babbling. That's why.
I wasn't babbling.
Yeah, you were babbling.
This is what I had to say.
All right. Yeah, okay. I listen, and then when people start asking you questions, it was just a babble marathon, my man.
It was just hypotheticals that had nothing to do with anything versus actually having a conversation.
Well, okay. Go ahead and get it in. I'm not going to say anything. I'm gonna just listen. I'm listen attentively. Please go ahead.
We're kind of ignoring the fact that no one in this room is actually that I've heard speak is a trans man or woman, so far as I can tell. And everyone here mostly would, I think, identify as cisgender. And everyone here is having a conversation about people who aren't.
I'm not cisgender.
No,
Please don't do that. Don't disrespect us, please. We don't like that term.
I'm cisgender. I don't think it's offensive to be called.
Are you a woman? You were born a woman?
I'm cisgendered male.
You're cisgender male.
What? No, I'm a man. Like, I'm a man. I'm not cis anything. I'm a man, straight up. Like, there's no cisgender here, bro. I'm a man. Like, I'm a man who listen, hold on real quick. I'm a man who descends from other men. So I'm no cisgender or anything like that. No disrespect to you. I'm a man. My father's a man. My grandfather, both my grandfathers was men. My uncles are men. My cousins are men. My homeboys, my friends, they're men. There is no cisgender. We don't say, oh, we're cisgender. No, we men. We black men.
But this is the problem that I have. If you consider yourself cis male, that's fine. But you have to understand, and anyone in the LGBTQ plus or whatever community have to understand that you have to respect other people and what they label themselves. If you want me to respect what you label you, then respect what I label me.
Wait a minute, Dana, but don't the term cis just means opposite sex? So if that's the case, that's a term again that's used opposite gender, And if that's the case, then why is that used applied to everybody instead of when you're in the community of trans? Because why would you use that towards heterosexual people or people who are identifying of the opposite sex of you? So if you're a man and I'm a woman, why can't you just say I'm a man?
Can I explain it?
Yeah, you're gonna explain to me. You're gonna explain to me.
Hold on, let him go ahead. Let him go ahead and speak. Let him go ahead and speak.
But I want him, if he's going to explain it, you need to explain who created the term cis. Because if you're going to tell me,
but yeah, let him go ahead. Let him go ahead and explain what he got. Yeah, let him go ahead and say what he's got to say, though.
I need for him to project his voice. Don't come up in here talking.
See, I told y'all before to let this dude go right here. I told you because it was just babble. I told you it was magpie mumbo jumbo. I told y'all that. I told you it was magpie mumbo jumbo from the get-go. Come on, tell us what the cis thing is, bro. Come on, please.
No. Just go what you were saying. Because he wasn't talking about cis. What was your point? Just go to your point.
Well, he's saying that he's a sissy. That's what he's saying.
Stop.
We're not what he's saying, Professor. Stop it.
Go ahead, Uwe. What is your point?
Okay, now he's winning his shell. Now he's winning his shell. He's underneath his Linus blanket.
The mic was
my mic was off when I was talking.
Okay.
There's a delay now with that mute button.
Go ahead, bro, please.
CISGENDER. Being cis cisgendered means that you identify with the genitalia that you were born with. That's all that means. If you don't identify with the genitalia that you were born with, you're most likely trans. Or you could be non-binary. Not understanding the differentiations doesn't mean that they aren't things. It just means that you don't understand them. And trying to call being trans a mental illness, there was a point in time where Black people weren't called human. That's wrong now that we understand that. Why can't we understand that there's a point in time where things move forward instead of trying to call a marginalized group people who have a mental issue, or trying to bring up the worst examples to try to be a monolith for that set of people? That's not the case. That doesn't make sense.
Okay, so you respect in this room, we don't like the term cis, right?
If you don't like being called cisgender,
I said, do you respect that? Okay, so go ahead with your point.
So another thing too, transgender people do have gender dysphoria. That is a
there was a point in time where Black
people no.
Why do y'all constantly always compare everything to Black people? Black people got nothing to do with this. Everything is Black.
Yeah, but Black people. Wait. The term Black people was not documented, and it wasn't documented on the DSM-5 that Black people were considered what you're saying. So the DSM-5 actually has the gender dysphoria in it. And they're getting ready to update it. Even I heard the people say, well, they're going to update it in the next version. It's still going to be updated with the classification. It's not going to change. So just because you said at one point Black people were considered one thing in society, well, we also used to be slaves and we weren't. So if you're going to use that logic, let's go.
Hey, okay, real quick. Let me mute it back up real quick. Ray, I'm gonna drop you down for a second because I got Rivera coming up. We're not gonna keep it open that long, guys. Like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and because I know and I brought Timothy Channing up here because Timothy, I know you was leaving some little comments and whatnot. So raise your hand. Apparently you got something to say. So I'm gonna allow you to get on the microphone as well too, because you're sitting up here talking about terms evolved and people aligned in the space or whatever. So go ahead and raise your hand and let us know exactly how we're lying and this and that or whatever. We got Trans is Beautiful up here. It's only fair that Trans is Beautiful also gets a chance to speak as well too. So I want Trans is Beautiful to speak. And before I unmute the mic, these are the last two people we're gonna have speak. We're gonna get Rera, we're gonna get Fred, and we're gonna get Trans is Beautiful and Timothy up here to speak as well too. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them an opportunity to speak before we close the space out. But like I say, Timothy and Uwe, listen here. I don't have time to paint the White House, bro. You're gonna have to come here and you're gonna have to give your point or whatever. All this back and forth. Like I said, I already knew it was nonsense. So I wasn't even gonna bring you back up here because I didn't feel like hearing all of this going around. Get to the point.
Every time I state my point, someone cuts me off.
That's true. And everybody go ahead and let him finish because I know everybody has a disagreement. Let him finish, but I don't want it to take, this ain't the sands of time right here either, bro. You got to speed it up.
The reason that people usually almost always bring those comparisons back to Black people is so that you can understand that it's a marginalized group marginalizing another group. There are trans Black people. That means that they're Black and they're trans, and they fit into the Black community and are discriminated against by people in the Black community. Why is no one paying attention to that?
I think I did say that, right, Newstoter? Didn't I say that earlier? I said I recognized that earlier. But what I did also recognize is that trans people want to also ignore the fact that they have a gender that they were biologically born with and a gender that they are choosing to identify socially as, and they want to play games in society. I think I said that. I said that.
Society is using the word.
Yes, playing games. Oh, you know what? Let me give you an example of playing games. If a trans person decides to meet someone and call a man who's heterosexual gay, or being heterosexual and videotape them because they are assuming this person is actually hiding in a closet when in actuality the trans person was not being honest, that's called playing games. See, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. It's important for the person who has the gender assignment, who is identifying themselves as trans, to be honest with the people they're interacting with.
Rella, please let this dude say what he's got. I'm going to give you a minute to go ahead, and then we got to move to the next speaker. Go ahead, man.
It's important for you to figure out whether or not someone's trans before you have sex with them, because that's part of being responsible before you have sex. Who doesn't ask someone questions or figure out things about them before just jumping into having sex with someone? That doesn't make sense. And it's dangerous to assume that trans people are cisgender just by looking at them, because transphobia can incite violence against trans people because they exist in spaces with other cisgender people. So you're not paying.
Okay, I don't know what happened to.
Who's next? He got removed because he still was being disrespectful. I said we're not cisgendered in here, and you're not gonna keep being disrespectful. You can't use the terms as they are up in this space because you're not in it. People are respecting the term, sis.
Let me go ahead and get to. Let me get to. Hold on, real quick, y'all. Hold on, real quick. Hey, everybody, real quick. Let me go ahead because we actually do have an actual trans person up in here. So let me get the Trans is Beautiful up in here. Trans is Beautiful. And Timothy, I also want to hear what you got to say as well too, since quote unquote we're lying in the space and everything is evolved as well too. Go ahead, Trans is Beautiful.
Hey family, we actually got a transformer in the space.
Go ahead, Trans is Beautiful. Professor, definitely stay on the mic while Trans is speaking as well too. We want to go ahead and let Trans go ahead and say what Trans has got to say, and we can go ahead if anybody wants to rebuttal if there's time, because like I said, I want to get to the hands as well too. Trans is Beautiful. Are you there? Hey.
Okay. Hello. Okay. Hello. Okay. I just want to say thank you for listening to the space, and then yes, and as far as like the whole gatekeeping period, I just in the title, I find it very odd that anybody would even accuse like a regular woman of like gatekeeping period. This is something that is natural to a woman who was born a woman, like female, and this is my opinion on that matter. And as far as the transition, I do think that people also need to just be more more accepting and more embracing of people who are different, like trans people. And I wanted to say that. And then thank you for listening to me talk. And then you, Professor, you're often very disrespectful, like against me and just trans people in general. So I'm just like, you are just someone who's just sometimes I even wonder if we like transgender people and think that's kind of weird. But and also I think somebody was talking about people being honest about being transgender. At least in Atlanta, I don't know what happened in every single city, but Atlanta, there's plenty of men who actually chase us, but they get angry if people find out that they like transgender and all that stuff, transgender people, and just big issues and spreads diseases and contributes to gender-based violence and even regular women getting murdered. So I saw that happened before. So men should just stop it with our toxic masculinity and I just want to say that. And thank you.
All righty.
Hey, did you make up your mind what you want to be? You want to have a penis or you want to have a vagina? Which one are you?
Oh boy.
I have a vagina. Okay. You want
more than me, style.
Oh, like why were you asking about my genitalia? Were you trying to do something? Like, were you interested? Like,
No, we don't. We're not going that route there. Let me go ahead and let me get to Timothy. Timothy, you was up in the comment section. You was stating a bunch of different things as well about the people we were lying in the space and terms evolve and this and that. So you was putting it in. So I want to hear what you got to say now.
Okay. So pretty much I heard just a couple of things I want to acknowledge. One of them being that I think that LGBTQ as community was kind of accepting pedophiles, trying to co-opt the pedophile movement, or saying that, trying to conflate the two, and I think that's bullshit at the end of the day, because pedophiles...
Nobody said that in here.
Wait a minute. That pedophiles are hiding under the umbrella of P or whatever. It was a bunch of stuff that was said about pedophiles. And I'm trying to just clarify.
Well, I never said that, so...
No one said that. We said that the P, pansexual, is an identified term in that they have identified that there are pedophilia, people who are under the guise of pansexual, and they think they call the term MAP. MAP was the other term that was also identified in here.
That's a lie.
Oh, it is? How is it a lie? So tell us.
Okay, let him go ahead, Relly. Go ahead, Timothy.
Because what in this one point I'm trying to make is that it's not pedophilia. I mean, yeah, pedophilia doesn't have any sexuality. Like, it's just literally, it's literally just that. So why are you gonna try to tie that into the LGBT community, or are you saying that the P is being represented by pansexual?
Hold on real quick, everybody. He is talking. Let him finish talking. Stay on your microphone. Everybody's coming off that microphone. They want to ask him a question. Let him finish saying what he has to say. Okay? Go ahead, Timothy.
Well, that was the end of that point. And then the next point I was trying to make is that there's people that believe that trans people are trying to, that they think they're better, they're replacing men and women, and that's just simply not the case, simply because it's only like a 0.0001% of the population that is actually trans. So it doesn't make any sense that they would have any political or financial power to even say that they are better than men and women, or that they are trying to replace men and women. So that is another lie. And the third lie that I was trying to bring up is that there are people that they just said that trans people are lying about their identities, that they need to just be honest about it, and they need to be whatever. And I agree with that statement, but at the same time, I'm looking at it through a lens of, if you don't know what a trans person looks like in 2023, you're not in community with trans people, so you really shouldn't even be talking about the conversation. Or you need to go and look at trans people, because they just kind of exist. You can see them. I'm not saying that they are not lying. They're not people that are here not lying, but a majority of trans people you can't see and you can't recognize. And if you can't do that in 2023, then I don't really know how to help you with that.
I want to rebuttal with something you said real quick.
Please.
Wait, no. Before we get to the other speakers, I would like to rebuttal to something that he said, because you said that transgender people, they are less than 1% of the population, but because they are a part of the LGBTQ community, and you also have the LGBTQ cult that is controlled by the gatekeepers, they do have political power. They do have more political power than Black Americans. Because of the fact, don't interrupt me, sir, because I did not interrupt you. We are not playing that game. Because of the fact that the reason why this whole conversation started, Jess Hilarious didn't just decide to get on her social media and go on a rant. It was a transgender person that identified as being a transgender woman on TikTok with a following saying that women are not the gatekeepers of periods. Well, who the fuck said we were? We are minding our business. So that transgender person feel as though they have the right, because they do have a backing politically and economically, to get up on a platform and disrespect heterosexual women. And then when we push back, then all hell breaks out, and now we're called bigots or transphobia, all this other bullshit. So you need to correct yourself and understand how this conversation even started. It didn't start by us. We are minding our business. It is started by LGBTQ people, such as transgender, coming after us, saying that we're the gatekeepers of something. So they're putting content out there going against us. And it's like, no, let me correct you. We are the gatekeepers because we're the only ones that do get periods. Period.
And why is it that it's always, and why is it, but you coming up here defending points of conjecture hold on, Revy. You're coming up here defending points of conjecture instead of actually coming in the room and being a part of the conversation. All you had to do was come in here and ask us what was said. And two, I posted a lot of the stuff that was said down in the Jumbotron for you to have a conversation. Most people like yourself and other hetero women who are defending the trans community, and like the woman who told Jess she needs to shut up and stay out of politics. How you going to tell somebody who's an American to shut up and stay out of politics? And at the end of the day, if a woman biologically stands up and speaks out against someone saying that we are not the gatekeepers of womanhood, it is our right to do so. We actually have been born and bred for this. We actually have an experience about growing up as a young girl into womanhood. Mothers who raised us, who actually show grandmothers, aunties, who we look up to go through what womanhood means. Who in the hell is going to stand in that gap and try to tell us we are not the gatekeepers? We are the gatekeepers, the clampers. God designed us to stand in the box, to tell you to shut the hell up, to tell you to sit down and be quiet because you are out of order. That is what we are.
But I didn't say any of those two things that both y'all just said. I didn't.
Yeah, yes, you did. Sure, but this is the thing. Listen. I don't have to use tomato juice and stick it up my vagina and bleed. I don't have a need to do that. It's that silly. My point to you is a transgender woman made a whole entire video, a black transgender woman who actually, who actually should have been checked by their own community to say, excuse me, that is not what we are here for, and that is not correct. It shouldn't even been us to say anything. It should have been the own community to do, and that's what I was talking about being honest. People are not being honest when we are talking about sex and gender and what the two are. You're only choosing man or female. If you decide you want to play in the box to be a female or a woman one day and put on a dress and wig like people are mentioning, that's your business. I don't get on here and talk about trans is beautiful and disrespect trans is beautiful. But if trans is beautiful, we're having a conversation about what impacts women biologically. Trans is beautiful is going to have to sit on the sideline and listen. Because we have a different experience. Now, if we are having a conversation about trans women, and trans is beautiful is the one talking about what trans women experience is, then we will sit and listen and hear them. No one in here is talking about harm against trans people, none of that. What we're saying is be honest about what this is. That's the problem we're having. You're not going to get on Beyonce's internet as heterosexual people and try to placate the individual erasure.
Okay, real quick. Go ahead and get your point in because I'm moving to the next two speakers because we're gonna be closing this space out. So go ahead. I'm gonna give you 40 a minute to go ahead and say what you got to. Host, co-host, go ahead. Let him say what he's got to, and then we're moving on to Fred and we're moving on to Rerod.
Yeah, just two more things. And the last couple things that both y'all said, I absolutely agree with. Okay, I will never say that a trans woman can do the same things that a regular woman can, and they understand that as well. So I think whenever there is a delusional person that says I'm better than regular women, I'm better than regular men, we should not give them a platform to say those things, and we should just move on, just put them to the side and move on because they are what they were delusional. Thank you. My second point about evolved language is that, and I'm just going to talk about black people, so stick with me just for a second. In the beginning, we were not called black people. We were called N-words with hard R's. I don't like that word, so I'm not going to say it out loud. We were called N-words with hard R's. And then what did that move to eventually? Negroes. And then what did that move to eventually? Black people, African American, whatever you want to identify with. My point about evolved language is that when it comes to gender, is that way before back then they were called whatever they were, or actually they probably weren't even identified as trans. Like there was no language for us to use to call them trans. But then eventually it was what, transsexual or transvestite. And now because we understand what that means for like society and how that relates to us, and we understand that we use the word gender now, that we say that gender and sex are two different things. And so when it comes to transgender or cisgender, specifically about trans and cis, those words are descriptors. They're not nouns. They're not pronouns. They're not terms like man and woman. It's like an adjective. You know what an adjective is?
No, you're making shit up right now because in another I really do think that if anyone coming up here from that community or sympathize or whatever with or defending that community, stop using race. You cannot compare race to your sexuality or the gender you choose. You know why you can't? Because when they did call us the N-word, when they did change us to Negro, you know what that was about? It wasn't about our role that we choose to live our life or our sex. That was about classism. Stop using that because that's a weak talking point. That's a weak talking point to debate anybody with, and you sound ignorant doing so. You're making shit up saying that it's not a pronoun, transgender. All that shit is pronouns because your community made it up. You don't even know. And I'm pretty sure you are a millennial or a Gen Xer.
All right. So on that, we're going to move forward. We're going to go to Fred, then we're going to go to Rerod. Thank you, Timothy.
The LGBT community did not create pronouns.
Hey, Fred, that's it.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Okay, that we moving on to the next speaker, Fred, respectfully.
Are you serious? Did you not graduate first grade?
No, are you serious? Are you dumb?
Now that was uncalled for.
Exactly.
Did she graduate first grade? Really?
No. He's a Gen Zer. He don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
First of all,
the whole pronoun campaign is yes, y'all created all that bullshit with all these letters and alphabets, dummy. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the English language. We're talking about you choosing certain words from the English language and want to place it to tell everybody to choose from it. Dumbass.
All right.
You're the dummy, bitch. You're lying.
No, bitch, you're fucking stupid, sissy. Bitch,
all right. He just got blocked. He just got blocked and removed from the space.
It doesn't even matter because the fact that's why I said with these Gen Zs and fucking young millennials, they fucking stupid. They don't read or do research. They just believe what a teacher, what somebody tells them to believe. They don't know how to think for themselves.
Yeah, he just got blocked and removed from the space. So, Fred, go ahead and unmute your mic. And then, like you say, every time this thing, it constantly keeps putting race and mixing race up in this. Race has nothing to do with this whatsoever. Not one person in here had any choice in being black. Straight up. Nobody in here had any choice. You was born black. You do have a choice in this other matter in terms of your what gender, what in terms of you wanting to be trans or whatever. You know, that's your right to do that, but that's not the same as being black. Fred, go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, this right here is the very reason why I said what Native spoke of earlier. Nobody gets to reclassify until Black Americans get fully compensated full reparations. Because see, these ain't nothing. All this is a bunch of sick-ass individuals that are practicing a sophisticated form of self-mutilation. That's really all the hell it is. And all they're trying to do is come up with some type of subcategory. They keep fishing for some equivalently oppressed minority group to compare or to try to undermine Black Americans that are owed reparations in the U.S. And secondly, no Black person in America, especially if you're descended from slavery in the U.S., it is don't worry about no term that cannot apply to you, which is homophobic, transphobic, or none of that shit. It's impossible in theory and practice for any of us to be any of that. There's no type of political power. We've never denied them the right to vote, go to restrooms, or nothing. So these are, like I say, these are a bunch of sick-ass individuals. Just like you said, how a lot of them keep on trying to equate racism with that. That shows you whenever they do that, all they're going to do is guarantee them to be an enemy of Black Americans from here on the hell out. Now I'm mute.
All right, thank you, Fred. Rerod, you had your hand up. Did you want to go ahead and say something?
Yes, I did, Newstoter. Thank you for allowing me to speak one more time. I mean, I'm glad that Fred said something about it, but yeah, you know, all of this ultimately goes back to white supremacy. I'm sorry, I have to do it. I have to do it. Okay, they have been trying to eliminate the black family structure for so long, and I just really feel like some people drank the Kool-Aid and some people didn't. You know what I mean? And I'm not mad at whoever decides to live their life and who decides not to live their life. Listen, do what you do. But don't sit here and come at me like you're not a part of this matrix, like you're not a part of what's holding many, many Black Americans back. All of this stupid ass shit, this transgender, this biracial, this swirler, all of this stuff is keeping us divided. Now you got Black people whose ancestors were strung up, lynched, and beat to death that are trying to say that struggle, the struggle that they're going through to today, simply because people are not being nice to them. Because that's what I hear mostly. They just want everyone to be nice to them. I am so sorry. That's just not how the world works. And as far as me like trying to get this whole like change all these names in my mind, I don't really run into that many transgender people on a day-to-day basis. You know, so I'm not gonna like, you know, get it in my mind. Like if I see a transgender person, what are the odds that I even speak to them to the point where I need to change my whole vocabulary and everything that I know to be true? Mispronoun. I'm not gonna talk to you. There's not gonna be no reason for me to mispronoun you because more than likely I probably won't talk to you. And it's not no hate or disrespect. It's just human life. I don't talk to everybody that I see. Everybody that sees me doesn't talk to me. So it just seems very disingenuous that they are completely just making it seem like this thing that they're going through right now is worse than what their ancestors went through and how they are trying to not identify with being Black. Instead, I want to be Black and I want to be trans. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, the only triple threat in America is being a Black woman without a job. Okay? That's the triple threat that nobody can get through. All right? That's the worst thing to be in America. All right? Period. Right now, then, yesterday, or a Black man in America without a job. Those are the worst things you can be. Then, now, and probably forever, unless we can get our reparations. And I'll land there. Thank you so much for listening.
All right, thank you.
That being said, trans is beautiful. Need to get her out of this space. He ain't even Black American anyway.
All righty. I mean, really, like,
put you in a corner.
I'm like, we just closing it out, Professor. That's pretty much it. Like, so it's Black Native. Because I told everybody, Black Native, I give you a minute because then we getting ready to close this space out. Nobody else raise your hand because we getting ready to get up out this space. We've been going 3 hours, and that's long enough for me. Black Native, I give you a minute, and then we closing out.
You got Newstoter. That's Upper D's here.
Who is who?
DJD.
I just wanted to say something to.
Hold on, real quick, because I saw Black Native with her hand up. That's why I was gonna let Black Native get it in for a minute.
I'm not really gonna be long. I just wanted to give applause to Dana and give applause to Rella for holding it down. And you know, like you said, stop using Black people and correlating it with the fight of the LGBTQ community, especially if you are Black and part of that community. Your Blackness is what's really holding you back, because the white LGBT community, they run damn near everything. So we're not going to play these games. And I just want to give a shout out to my two sisters who held it down for Black women. And I'm going to land my plane.
Okay. Thank you, Black Native. VJD, real quick, I'll give you a minute as well, too. Go ahead.
Okay, so I want to piggyback off of Black Native to the ladies. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming hard. That's what we need. Oh, and to the one that said he must be a Gen Xer, you hurt my feelings. I'm 75, man. I'm a Gen Xer. We don't think like that. So that kind of hurt my feelings. But to Timothy what I want to say to anybody who was on here who was part of the LGBTQ, and I said this to a couple of people who are actually a part of the community. As far as pedophilia, y'all need to watch that, because again, I've been keeping up with a lot of stuff. They are trying to attach their issues to your issues. They do want to make pedophilia, they want to normalize it. So for Timothy to act like that's not a reality, that is a reality. They had a couple of people try to go before the Supreme Court to get that shit thrown out of the psychiatric community. They wanted it to be a mental disorder instead of being sex offenders. So yeah, they are trying to jump on bandwagon with transgender and everything else. So that's a reality. As far as all this other stuff,
real quick, VJD, real quick, gotta wrap it up, sweetie.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you fighting for me. Thank you.
All right, go ahead, DJ. I see you came up here real quick towards the end of the space, so I'll let you get something in real quick, and then we getting ready to close it up.
T.S. Giselle, you ain't gonna be misgendering me. Don't be giving them no credit. I'm a real woman. Y'all ain't none of y'all women graduate from no HBCU. This is a messed up space. I'm requiring all y'all. That's good.
All right. I'm gonna let Dana and I'm gonna let Dana and Rella go ahead real quick. Let y'all go ahead and thank you guys for going ahead and co-hosting the night as well too. So I definitely appreciate that. To have the sisters up in the space as well as a co-host. So I'll let y'all go ahead and say something real quick, and then we're gonna go ahead and close this thing out for the night.
Gen Zs and young millennials, y'all need to educate yourselves and stop allowing these institutions to brainwash you, because the only thing y'all fight for is pronouns and to be called whatever you want to label yourself as. And that's not what that community was about, especially the Black LGBT community, because the real Black LGBT community, they were fighting for equality. And this is after the civil rights movement, because a lot of people who were far more better and talented than this young generation is, a lot of them died. A lot of them were rejected, couldn't get jobs, didn't have insurance, couldn't get life insurance. A lot of people fucking died so that you could just pop one pill or no pill at all, because now the chances of you getting HIV or AIDS is really non-existent. For you to have all the privileges that you have now, that was because of the real Black LGBT activists for your community. They were fighting for equality, and you don't know that. And the LGBTQ community, period, did piggyback off of the civil rights movement. Yes, they did. They would not have any equality if it wasn't for us Black Americans, just like the immigrants and everybody else. So I'm going to suggest all you Gen Zs and millennials, go and do your research and go sit down with an elder Black LGBT person so that they can educate you. A lot of good people died so you can sashay your ass around here and talk ignorant shit on TikTok, or be like Saucy Santana talking about some women are jealous of his ass. That's some bullshit. And I'm just here to tell you and put you in your place and educate you, whether you like it or not. So, I don't fight for pronouns. I don't give a shit about your fucking pronouns. You need to respect me and what I want to be referred to as, and I will do the same for you. And I support Jess Hilarious, and I hope she do not come out and fucking apologize. And if she is canceled, because people love to do that cancel culture shit, women and men should support and back her. And I'll end it there. Good space.
All right. Thank you, Dana. Let me go ahead and get to Rella.
Thank you for that, Dana. I'm going to stand in the lane of people who are heterosexual, who support the LGBTQ community. I feel like you're somewhat part of the problem, in the sense of you ignore even your own selves, just so that a particular group of the community can run around and deny facts and psychological factors in science. I think it's a problem when we are having these conversations and other people who are heterosexual come into the space, or even people who are maybe gay or lesbian come into the space, and they are trying to argue the points that somehow people are transphobic because we want to have these discussions and we want to put all the cards on the table. It is disingenuous. It is causing more harm than good, and it is also a form of erasure. And it should not be tolerated, because if you can't be honest as an adult in this space, and you cannot talk about what is impacting our community as in the Black community, no one is there is an LGBTQAI element in our community. We're saying that we recognize that there are so many factors that go into that, and that you cannot sit around and think that we're going to put up with you calling yourself a marginalized group in a marginalized group. You are either a part of our group that is literally fighting for our reparative issues, or you are not. And I guarantee you, the white LGBTQAI has already made it a point to let you know they don't recognize you either. They're not putting up with you either. They don't care for you either, which is why Caitlyn Jenner could win the ESPY Awards and be claimed the first woman athlete to win an ESPY Awards, and no one is up in arms about that. No one, except for women, biological men and women knew that that wasn't right. But yet you still had people fighting to protect that practice happening. And then that same trans person can come back to say, oh, well, you know what? I really still want to have enjoy the benefits of being a man. See, no. It is a problem, and we need to address it. We need to fix it. Also, you need to get your language together. I agree with Dana. You need to get your history together. If you're going to say that the term, the hard ER evolved into the term Negro, then you don't know your history. You have no idea of the history. Because the term Negro was a Latin term that came out prior to the term, the hard ER, being used here in the States by the 13 colonies. And I'm not going to go on a full history rant, but I'm going to say this. Learn your history. Stop trying to placate and cross the lanes up just so you can prove your point of conjecture for empathy. It's not going to work anymore. Google is free, and we're not dumb. And I need more professionals in the realm of science, in the realm of professional medical professionals to start speaking up, because this is getting out of hand, and it's not appropriate anymore. And it is putting women, biological women and men, in harm's way. And I know we focused a lot on trans women, but trans men also need to speak up. You have female reproductive organs, and you still get your cycle because you were once a woman, and that is a fact. You're putting women in biological women in harm's way, and it is not right, and people need to be held accountable for it. Thank you, Newstoter, for this space, and we truly appreciate you and all the speakers. You guys were amazing. I'll make sure I hit follow to everybody, and this was awesome.
All right. Thank you, Trans. We're gonna have to get with you next time because we gotta go ahead and shut this space down for tonight. So definitely come back tomorrow night and go ahead and we'll get you in here, but we're gonna go ahead and shut it down this Sunday night space because it's almost damn near Monday. So shout out to everybody, the two co-hosts tonight, and the speakers, and everybody who came and shared in the space as well too. Thank you, guys. We'll be back tomorrow night. Like I said, in the Jumbotron, we got the space for tomorrow night, guys. Go ahead and tweet that out. It's in the Jumbotron on the far left-hand side. We're talking about the Black immigrants demand equal reparations. This is going to kind of be like a carryover from the space we had Thursday night. So definitely go ahead and retweet it. I'm retweeting it now. So definitely go ahead. For anybody that's in the space, retweet that space out. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you for everybody participating, coming out, supporting the space as always. Everybody have a good night. Be safe, and we'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you.